Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi's here, and it's Friday morning, and we're playing the Suns today. And it's an opportunity for the Toronto Raptors to prove some things. And some of these things they need to prove aren't necessarily, there's some of them are very basic. They need to prove that they care. They need to prove that they are professional basketball players that don't just play for money, but play for trying to win and for each other, and they're trying to play to a higher standard than they were yesterday. And they're trying to improve, and they're trying to do what the coaching staff of Darko wants. They got some things to prove because right now they're in a deficit. They're in a deficit of trust. They're in a deficit of doubt. They're in a deficit of you're losing to teams that you shouldn't be losing to, and you are falling in the standings in a free fall right now, and that sucks. We don't want that. They don't want that. Well, do you or do you not care? This is where we're at with them right now. Do you care? Do you care about your season? Do you care about the 50 or so games, 60 games that you've already played, and how much you put work into this season already? Do you care at this point? That's what we're asking, because the energy is different. You know, I hope that there's nothing wrong with the chemistry and the camaraderie and the brotherhood and the fun of the vibes of the Raptors. You know, I want to know that our leaders on this team care. I want to know that our leaders on this team want to win. I want to know that the leaders on this team will stand up for each other if things go in a weird way, like what happened to Shed the other day. Yeah, we need answers. Brandon, Scotty, RJ, Emmanuel, Jakob, Jacoby, all y'all. We need answers. Who the hell are y'all? Are y'all the team that got 9-game win streak in November? Or are y'all this team we've seen recently that honestly, it seems like if you didn't have to show up to the game, you didn't even want to show up? Because that's what the energy feels like right now. And the sad thing is, look, the leadership of this team is the main guys. The young guys are not supposed to run up and do this. I'm not expecting Grady or Jacoby or Jameson or Jonathan or Trace or any of those guys to do what I'm talking about. There's specific guys on this team that need to step up and say, I'm a leader of the Raptors, and this is how we're going to be, and this is what we're going to do. I can't have, you people run around with titles and not really doing the job. You want the title of number one. You want the title of franchise face. Then you better fucking use it in responsible ways. You better own up to it. You better fulfill the job. You want to be the franchise face? You are the franchise face? Well, you're showing your face. And what is your face? Your face is not there for Jamal. Your face is not caring enough about losing to stop it. That's what we need to know, Scotty. In some ways, there's a lot on you, but I know also this morning in the injury report, I'm going to announce that you're questionable and you may not even show up tonight. That's what I need to know. I know in some ways this may be insulting what I'm asking you. Why would I ever doubt Scott? He told me never to doubt him. He told me years ago, Raptors Freak, don't ever doubt me. Well, why do you feel like I shouldn't doubt you? Because right now I feel like I should doubt you, Barnes, because you're not adding up the winning, Scotty. What are you doing, man? You gonna waste your life? You gonna try and win? Is this some weird thing where you're playing back and not playing as hard in Toronto? But miraculously, if you went to another team, you're going to go to another gear and do all kinds of crazy stuff in another level. Like, I don't want that to be the truth. I don't want that to be the reality of this situation right now. We don't need no Vince Carter bullshit here. No, we don't need that. You pulling punches, Scott? You should be getting almost 20 every game. Sometimes you get closer to 10. I'm just wondering, bro. Everything's in question at this point. The mainstream journalists, Doug Smith and Josh Lindbergh, are putting out articles yesterday in the news about whether y'all are soft, whether y'all give a shit or not. whether y'all are done for the season all of a sudden, whether you guys have gone into this apathetic mode that maybe this is just it. And well, nobody cares. The magic's gone. We had some magic this year. We had some success. We did some good things. We got above 500. We had a playoff spot. We should be a playoff team, but we lost it. What are y'all going to do? This is adversity. This is a challenge. This is a wake-up call to say whatever y'all were doing that worked earlier in the season ain't working now. And y'all need to figure it out and adjust and change. Some of that is on the coaching staff and making it fresh and giving y'all new ideas to try and have a better chance to be successful. But some of it's also just the will of the players, the leadership of the players, what y'all stand for. What does this franchise stand for, Scotty Barnes, face of the franchise? And what will you do to make us understand what you do as a franchise face and what you stand for? What will you do? That's the challenge I put to you. This is a very deep level one. This isn't like changing your defensive scheme or changing the matchups or anything like that. This is a soul change. This is what are you doing with your life and what do you feel in your soul and what are you trying to do? You got to question yourself right now because right now it seems like y'all don't care. Y'all don't care. You definitely don't care more than the Celtics. You definitely don't care more than the Knicks. You don't care. And do you want that label? There's like two things, the labels that are coming from the aftermath of the Pelicans game. Soft and apathetic. Soft and apathetic. Meaning you guys just don't give a shit. You know, I know the aspect from Brandon that's feeding to this because it's easy to see. Brandon Ingram played for New Orleans a long, long time. He got used to losing. And in some ways, habits are hard to break. In some ways, we can blame Brandon Ingram for where we're at right now because he's the number one. And what are you supposed to do as the number one? You're supposed to carry your team to victories. But if you're just happy being in Toronto, being healthy, playing in games, getting your paycheck, being with Glorilla, but you don't give a shit about actually winning, because that was a pattern of your career in Pelicans. You know, maybe showing up to the friendly confines of your former home arena have reminded you, you know what? It's not about winning in the NBA. It's about the paycheck and the lifestyle. If that's what matters to you, Brandon, because that's what mattered, you know, most of your careers because you didn't win. You didn't go above and beyond. You don't have a track record of getting your team really far just by yourself as the number one option. Is this just old habits die hard and this is just how it is and this is just how the programming is? Or are you a competitor? Do you actually really care about getting a Larry O'Brien? Do you actually care about going deep in the playoffs, Brandon Ingram? Or is it just that you want to get that check, have that lifestyle, be a professional basketball player because it's a dream, you work hard because you love playing, but there's a certain level of not working and there's a certain level of I don't care that you hit a wall on that some NBA players go above and beyond. But you, no, this is good. I got my girl. Man, New Orleans loves me. I'm so happy. What a great game. You guys lost. Oh, well, yeah, but I had a good time. I saw my friends. The people love me. Yeah, but y'all lost and you were humiliated. And in some ways, y'all look soft and apathetic and fucked up. Yeah, but that's not what my priority list is, bro. My priority list is more tattoos, time with Glorilla, get my money, shooting shots in the gym and being a gym rat and enjoying that. But in some ways, it's all hollow shit as far as whether I want to fucking win at the top or not. This is all fair, what I'm saying right now. Some people would say, Raptors freak, you're supposed to be the positive Raptors fan. Yeah, this is the positive Raptors fan crying out to the leaders of the Raptors to be better leaders, to lead these guys right, and to go and fucking be successful. Y'all want to be losers? Y'all want to be losers? You can be losers and just live that Pelicans life, Brandon Ingram. But you're a Raptor, bro. You got to remember that. In that game the other night, you were more a Pelican than a Raptor, and you were switching sides and sabotaging your own team. And now the team is just in what the fuck are we now mode. Like, seriously. You guys need to step up and establish your leadership. This is not on Grady. This is not on Jamal Shed. This is not on those guys. In some ways, I'm not talking to RJ about it because he wasn't out there. In some ways, RJ can do this if y'all gonna be little pussies and you're not gonna be the fucking leaders of the team with your heart and your spirit and what you give a shit about. This is why I value RJ Barrett so high, because there's no questioning his will and want to win for the Raptors and what he's trying to do. But if Darko's going to bench him in the fourth quarter against the Pelicans, he can't be out there to do what he's supposed to do to will his team to try and win. And it's on the shoulders of Barnes and Ingram. So it's like, look, RJ's playing third banana. If he needs to be promoted over one of y'all in either one of y'all's roles, I am perfectly fine with it. If we want to make the franchise player of the Raptors RJ Barrett, I will do that tomorrow. If we want to make RJ Barrett the number one priority on offense, I would do that tomorrow. Because this is NBA, nothing's just handed to you and granted to you. You have to earn it over and over again, Scotty. And if you're not going to fucking be the leader of this team, the heart and soul of this team, the guy who sets the tone of how we are and what we do and what we ain't going to take, with DeJounte Murray glowering over Jamal Shed like that, you set the tone, Barnes. You are the franchise face. We sent out Fred, Pascal, and OG for you. So you need to fucking do this. I'm sick of this shit. And if you don't play tonight, okay, you get a pass because you're sick. You didn't make it. But there's been a lot of people showing up half sick and playing half-ass and not playing well this week. And I'm sick of this shit. If you're going to show up and play sick, you better be Michael Jordan against Utah Jazz. Is what I'm fucking saying right now. No excuses. Oh, you're sick. Yeah, I didn't play as well. I didn't get 10 points because I'm sick right now. Oh, okay, Brandon. Okay. Well, why the fuck you play? Oh, because I need to make sure I get my games. And in some ways, it's not really about the team winning. It's about my own selfish needs. About I want to play and give me the ball. I don't care if I'm clanking or bricking. You're pissing me off, Brandon, is what I'm going to say. Or Scotty, what's going on here? You sick? You going to play? I don't feel well this morning, Raptor Streak. In some ways, there's a lot of scrutiny right now. And in some ways, I don't like this shit. I want things just to be happy and copacetic, and things are happy, and the teammates are happy, and we're all doing good, and we're winning. Well, Scotty, you are the person who can change this. You need to fucking change this. And it starts by you showing up tonight and kicking the Phoenix Suns' asses. That's where it starts right there, my guy. You can't do it any other way. That's right. It's just how it is. It's just how it is. I'm sorry I'm doing a 12-minute rant at the beginning of this. It's a Friday freak out. How about that? There's your Friday freak out from the Raptors freak, questioning the ultimate leadership of the Toronto Raptors this morning and pointing at two guys in particular right now. I'm not pointing at Emmanuel. No, he's the one who came over and stood up for Jamal. And in some ways, he's the guy who's out there playing his ass off and improving and taking the scrutiny from the Raptors nation and going above and beyond it and being successful. No, I'm not going at Emmanuel. I'm not going at RJ, because those two guys are absolved. In some ways, they can be the secondary leadership. They can step up if Scotty and Brandon aren't going to do the two primary leadership roles correctly. No, we just got to have somebody do this. Like I said, if you guys aren't up to it, if you don't have this aspect to your personality, Scotty, because you're too nice, because you want to be Vince Carter with all the rest of the league and be buddies with everybody on the other teams, and you don't want fines, you don't want to have a reputation, you don't want to get in people's faces, you don't want to be the enforcer for the Raptors, well, that's your choice. In some ways, you're lacking leadership skills then, is what I'm going to say. You're lacking leadership skills then. So it's either you have these leadership skills, you develop them, or you fucking not what we need as the ultimate leader of this team in some ways. And maybe your role should change a little bit to be a little bit more accommodating to other people being in that spot, because they're more willing to do the leadership stuff that you need to do, that you are not. And that includes taking over the game offensively and winning games for us, like Anthony Edwards does for the Minnesota Timberwolves. It's cold, hard facts right there. This is a lay it all down on you on a Friday freak out right here. All right, let's do the latest lineup news for tonight's game. Yes, Scotty is questionable. He has the sickness that has been going around this week. I don't know what it's called. Maybe it's called weakitis. Oh, you got that weakitis. You're weak. You're soft. Stop being soft, Scotty. You work too hard. You've taken too many licks, and you play too physical in this league, playing out of position as a center and fighting and scrapping and getting injuries and stuff like that. Yeah, I know the blood, sweat, and tears. So if you've earned that, if you've done all that, why wouldn't you go all the way and say, I stand for this and that for Toronto Raptors on this jersey in this city, in this country? That's what I don't get, bro. You're willing to do a lot of the sacrifices. I see you taking the physical toll. So why the fuck wouldn't you put yourself on the line for your team in a situation like what happened for Shed? You know, seriously. In that situation, when something like that happens, when somebody shows you up, that's supposed to be everybody's cue on the team that got disrespected to go above and beyond and kick the other team's ass. Seriously, that's the best revenge is get the W, Scott. Is to go out there and get the W. DeJounte Murray does that in the Shed. It pisses you off and you get crazy on offense and you take over the game and you win the game for Toronto. That's the proper action. That's the old school 1980s, 1990s NBA action. Is you got somebody punk you, show you up. Well, the way you get back at them is you go win the game. But there wasn't none of that. Like I said, y'all rolled over like a dog doing tricks, and the next trick is called play dead. Anyway, yeah, Colin is out again tonight. His thumb is still bothering him. He's questionable. Actually, he's upgraded. It doesn't say he's straight up out. It says that he's questionable. So maybe there's a chance we get Colin Murray-Boyles back today. Some Raptors fans are crazy. They're trying to say that all these problems and this toughness problem is solved when our rookie comes back. That if Colin Murray-Boyles had been in that Pelicans game, that shit with Shed wouldn't happen, is what some Raptors fans are thinking. I don't know if that's true, guys. That's put a lot on the young rookie shoulders of CMB to expect him to be the enforcer already. He's not ready for that. He doesn't understand the league totally yet. He may be an enforcer at some point, and he may have a proclivity and a natural tendency to want to come and stand up for his teammates. But he hasn't. He's. I don't think he's ready yet. It may very much develop in the next couple of years. That may be true. That may be true. We'll have to see. Chucky is out also, but that's the injury list for the Raptors. That's it. Is Barnes and Murray-Boyles are both questionable, and Chucky is out. So if we don't have Scotty tonight, who are we going to start? I don't want to start Sandro. That's for sure. That's the one person I don't want them to start. If you start Jacoby, I'll be happy, Darko, if Scotty's not going to be there. So maybe we have Quickly, Ingram, Barrett, Walter, and Pirtle tonight against the Suns. Something like that. You know, the Suns have a lot of shooting guards that they play. So maybe Walter as a defensive foil to a lot of the talented offensive swings on the Suns. That may be a smart sub in for the starting lineup. Any which way, I see the best person coming in to take a starting spot when somebody's out as Jacoby Walter right now. He just is that guy. Because once again, if Jacoby's not making his shot, we know he's going to be doing excellent things off the ball and running around on defense and things like that. So, you know, that's the way I look at it. All right, let's go look at the Suns real quick. Real quick, the ESPN matchup predictor, which predicted we'd lose to the Pelicans, are actually giving us the prediction today that 54% the Raptors will beat the Suns at home today. Now, the Suns are actually on a win streak. They did play last night against the Indiana Pacers, and they won that game. And they have won. They're actually doing really well right now, which is crazy. We've had some bad luck in catching the Suns and the Pelicans right now when they're actually in a good part of the season. So the Suns have won 6 out of their last 7 games, and they're on a 4-game winning streak right now. So the Raptors need to end their winning streak. This is a motivation tool, Darko. Tell the Raptors, those Suns have won 4 games in a row. Of course we need to win, but let's be haters and ruin their win streak too and beat them. Here we go. Here's the injuries for them. Dylan Brooks had his surgery on his right and on his repaired left hand, and he got a DUI too. And we've talked about this in the last week that Dylan is not available to the Suns right now because of this. And he's been cleared for contact. He's not cleared for contact work. So he's just out. So no villain Dylan. And honestly, that's a good thing because he's a winning guy. He brings winning. In fact, the things that we're lacking and the things that we're worried about right now are in Dylan Brooks. The fight to not take no shit and the winning attitude and going all out to win, even if you're not the most talented guy, is Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks is the ingredient that the Raptors need in some ways right now, more than anything. You put Dylan on the line with RJ, Team Canada teammates right now, woo-wee. the Raptors would have a big part of the synergy problem that they have right now fixed with Canadian Dylan Brooks on our team. I would advocate for that. He's hurt. He's not going to help us right now. It's not the trade deadline. It's not any kind of way it's going to happen. But it's kind of funny how the missing jigsaw puzzle piece that would fix the Raptors right now is in street clothes on the Phoenix Suns bench. Because it's true. Grayson Allen was out last night against the Indiana Pacers due to a right knee injury. And I don't know if he's playing tonight. So it could be very likely that the very dirty player, one of a player that absolutely cannot stand, Grayson Allen, will not be playing tonight. I hope so, because he's annoying like Dylan too. And they do the similar kind of stuff in some ways. Mark Williams, their center, is out also. He has a stress reaction in his third metatarsal of his left foot. And he's going to be reevaluated in just under a month. So no Mark Williams, the center. So who are the Suns? We have not played them yet this year. This will be the first time we play them this season. And we'll go and play them in Phoenix before the end of the month also. So we're getting both our Phoenix games and both our New Orleans games out of the way in the month of March. Now, to me, all four of those games should be winning games because we need them that bad. And these teams are worse than us with their record. So, yeah, Colin Gillespie is the starting point guard for the Suns right now. I don't even know who that guy is. I barely seen him play. Devin Booker is healthy, and he is the engine that drives the offense of the Phoenix Suns. So, obviously, somebody that we're going to need to key on heavily. Squirrel, hey, get down. I see you. Anyway, Jalen Green is the small forward. He's kind of reclaiming his career after the Rockets, but not really. Not really. Royce O'Neal is the power forward. That's an undersized power forward. We may be able to have some advantage with size today. And Osho Ighodaro is the center. So this isn't the most stellar, exciting starting lineup. This isn't like a tough, formidable team. There's real problems and weaknesses to this team. And if our coaching staff is doing their job right, they'll prepare the Raptors well today to be able to execute and really take advantage of some of the mismatch problems that the Suns are going to have tonight, because we are the problem for them. They're not as much a problem for us. We have advantages that we have mismatches, and Brandon's one of them. We'll see if Brandon's ready to prove me wrong from my rant earlier. Raptors freak, you're so wrong, bro. I want to win so bad. You don't even understand. All right, prove it to me, Brandon. Go out in the game tonight and win the game. Hit a buzzer beater, carry, get a route, kick so much ass that you're up by 20 and you just won the game. Just win the game. That's all I'm asking you. You want to make me believe that you want to win NBA championship and make the Raptors successful? Go win games. That's the easiest way to prove me wrong and show me what's up. Seriously, y'all want me to shut up and be nice? That's what you do. You go and win games, Scotty. That's it. Off the bench. This is their bench. Jordan Goodwin is the backup point guard. Ryan Dunn, the player from a couple years ago, he's in his second year. Rookies Rasheer Fleming and Common Maluwak are on the bench. Also, Jamari Mbuyaya, Haywood Highsmith, Amir Coffey, CJ Huntley. And that's pretty much their guys. These, like I said, these are nobodies. These are a bunch of dudes who've not made names for themselves in this league they're trying. They're a young, hungry team. And in some ways, their veteran leadership is Devin Booker. And that's it. Everybody else is very, very young. So, some people have called the Suns the Raptors of the West. That a lot of the things that are with us are with them. Similar records, similar position in the playoffs right now. Similar issues with youth not knowing how to do things to close out games and fumbling games. A lot of the similar stuff. So this is going to be a little bit of Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man tonight with the Raptors versus Suns. We'll have to see. I'd like to see the Raptors just really work out the anger and frustration of the losses recently on the Suns at home in our home arena with our home crowd. Fans, come to the game and help them. Don't be the same energy that they had in New Orleans. Come out and be loud and supportive unconditionally. And let's not be shaky. Let's not add to the softness of the Raptors. We can be our own attribute. Let's be a very tough, tenacious crowd, a loud crowd, a crowd that is not going to give a shit about what the game score is, like a 905 crowd. Cheer for the team up 20, down 20. It doesn't matter. Get loud for them every time the Suns have the ball. Let's set our tone for our energy, and we won't be soft like the team was the other night. So in some ways, can we feed a very competitive, angry, loud energy in the Scotiabank Arena tonight? Scotiabank Arena Raptors fans, can we do that tonight? Can y'all be consistently loud tonight to help the Raptors beat the Suns? You know, we had the Raptor by himself fighting off the Suns at the free throw line and Devin Booker during the lockout when nobody could go to the games. The Raptor was the whole crowd. We can have the whole arena full tonight and have all y'all do what we need to distract Devin Booker at the free throw line and be loud and yell defense and help them give energy to our team because they desperately need pick-me-ups, obviously, because they seem like they're down in the doldrums and a soft-ass team. So why don't we give them some toughness, crowd, and get behind them and give them a strong support vocally in the arena tonight? I put that on everyone going to the game tonight at Scotiabank Arena. Please help. The Raptors need your help, and you can help them as a fan by feeding them the good, positive defensive energy chants, and also just let's go Raptors. Let's go Raptors. Practice it. Practice it before you go and get it right when you get there. That's what I'm saying right there. Yeah. So, yeah, that's the latest lineup news. Let's go look at the refs. Referees. The replay center is Pat O'Connell, Rodney Mott, and Sean Corbin. Those guys aren't bad. We could have worse guys in the replay center. That's for sure. Those guys aren't bad. On the floor today, we got one of the best crew chiefs for the Raptors today, and that is Tyler Ford. I consider Tyler Ford one of the top 3 referees in the NBA right now. He is seriously really a good ref. Really, really good ref. Number 39, his 11th season out of Lima, Ohio. That's why, even though he's an 11th year ref, he's often the crew chief because he's like that. Let's just put it that way. His favorite TV show is Yellowstone. He likes the movie Remember the Titans. His favorite musician is Old Dominion. His favorite book is The Power of a Positive Team. We need that book right now, Tyler. I'll just say that. His favorite meal is steak. His favorite app is Netflix. He'd most like to visit Ireland, and his bucket list is to play golf at Augusta National. Before joining the NBA officiating staff, Tyler Ford refereed 5 seasons of the NBA G League, where he worked the finals in 2015 and the All-Star game in 2014. Yeah, Tyler's awesome, man. Tyler is a top ref for the Raptors. He's top 5 ref, man. We've had him twice this year already. We won both the games we've had him already this year. So we're perfect 2-0, and we win 60% of our games in the history of Tyler Ford refereeing Raptors games in his career. 60%. That's fantastic. Like I said, he's a top 5 guy. He's up there in the pink zone. And, well, the Suns have a pretty good winning percentage with him, too. They win 54% of their games. So 60-54 for the Raptors with the crew chief, Tyler Ford, out of Lima, Ohio. That's right. The second ref is a little bit more shaky. It's Ray Acosta, Mr. Sopranos, Mr. New Jersey, number 54 in his 9th season out of Elizabeth, New Jersey. He likes The Sopranos. He likes Scarface. He likes Michael Jackson. He likes Rich Poor Dad, the book. He eat anything that's Italian food. He likes to watch Netflix. So this is the thing. Tyler Ford and Ray Acosta, they are binging Netflix on their off time, hiding in their hotel from the public as referees. He most like to visit the Maldives. His bucket list is to be in a shark tank surrounded by great white sharks in Australia. That sounds scary. And his hidden talent is dancing. Yeah, Ray's been a ref for us the most out of the 3 refs today, I think. No, him and Fennessy have been the same. That's right. Fennessy's the next ref. But yeah, we are 1-3 with Ray Acosta this season. That's horrible, man. Yeah, Ray Acosta's officiated 442 regular season games and 6 playoff games in 8 seasons as an NBA staff official. He made his playoff debut as a ref in 2022-2023 season. Yeah, we won the last game he refereed, but we lost the first 3 games he ref this year. He's in the red zone. He's right next to Scott Foster on the ref spreadsheet. We win 42% of our games with Ray Acosta in his career. And, well, they win 42% on the other side too. So it's pretty even. And because we're home, I'll say it's an even split. It's technically 41.9 for the Raptors and it's 42.1 for the Suns. So they have 2 percentage points higher, but we have home advantage. So I'm going to say Ray Acosta is a split. It's even for that ref, but he has a proclivity to not give us calls. He's a bad ref to the Raptors. He is. He very much is. He 50-50 calls where he could give the call to the Raptors. He's going the other team. Just so you know, that's his proclivities. I watch him. I watch him. The third ref is Fantasy Ransom, as I let slip earlier, number 70 out of Atlanta, Georgia. His eighth season in the league. His favorite TV show is 60 Minutes. He likes the movie Enter the Dragon. The Foreign Exchange is his favorite musician. He likes the book The Tao of Abundance. His favorite meal is hibachi chicken with shrimp. He likes to use the app Shazam. He most like to visit Cairo, Egypt. His bucket list is to learn to play the piano, and his hidden talent is public speaking. Yeah, Fantasy's interests include golf and leadership development. Yeah, we've had Fantasy Ransom quite a few times this year, 4 times this year so far. I was at one of the games that he refereed. I believe he refereed the game against Indiana in the playoff, the play-in tournament. Yeah, but our record is 2-2 with him this year. We won 2 and lost 2. The last game he refereed, we won. But overall, our record with him in his career is 52.4, so 52% winning, which is not bad. It's above the record. But the Suns have a better winning percentage with Fantasy. They have a 57% winning record. So 52-57 for the Suns with the third ref from Atlanta, Georgia, Fantasy Ransom. So our overall record between the 3 refs for this season is 5-5. It's an even 500 record. 5-5. So yeah, it's a pretty even ref crew. Tyler's definitely our guy, the crew chief. With the home advantage, it evens out Ray Acosta, and then Fantasy does slightly favor the Suns. So that's your ref crew. I think these guys, if Tyler's in charge, we're gonna get a very solid ref game where there won't be a lot of funny stuff going against the Raptors. He's more likely to give us stuff and help us out than to screw us over. I don't worry about Tyler Ford ref manipulating a win against us for the Suns. He's going to call it right down the line. If the Raptors play correctly and they do things right, Tyler Ford will allow them the opportunity to win this game. So that's insurance to me. That's insurance to me to know that we have a fine, upstanding, very down the middle, great ref like Tyler Ford in charge tonight. And in some ways, we're going to need that kind of ref to call it right down, but we're going to need the Raptors to show up and play better. That's the big, more important thing there. We can't win just solely because Tyler Ford's there. We need Scotty and RJ and Brandon to show up and kick some major ass also. So, yeah, there's your ref report. Yeah, Tyler Ford, he's my guy, man. I really am a big fan of Tyler Ford. Ray Acosta, I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of. You didn't even watch the game tonight, and you may even see the very different styles of the referees that I just named and what I'm saying. You're going to see Ray Acosta do something fucked up towards the Raptors tonight. I'm going to tell you that right now, even though Tyler's in charge. But the overall refereeing will be pretty fair because Tyler will set that standard. And Fantasy Ransom, like I said, he's even this year. He's been a tumultuous ref to us, and he's been a butthead. But also at times he's been very fair too. He's been very, very fair too. All right, let's get into the chat and see what y'all are saying this morning. I have to react to the Raptors 905 win against Westchester Knicks yesterday. There's all kinds of fun stuff to talk about that coming up in the stream, so stay tuned. Words of wisdom from Trevor J this morning. Thank you, Trevor, being the commissioner of fun of this channel and for your steady streak with me, being here every single day. In some ways, I have a long streak of doing the show every day, but Trevor's getting a streak of having words of wisdom with me that is running alongside with it. And I appreciate that. May your streak not go unbroken, is what I say. Yeah. Here you go. It was saying you only need to think a reason strong enough to start and a mindset strong enough to not stop when it gets hard. Most people have the first, very few build the second. The real advantage in life is not talent, it's ability to keep going when it stops being exciting. Yeah, once again, I know I always use the example of doing this show, but this is really true to this because look, there may be other people that would have started a Raptors channel like me, and they may have done it for like a week or a month or 3 weeks or 3 months, and that's it. They would have been, like, bored with it. They would have been like, "Nah, I can't do this. This isn't my true passion. In some ways, I'm not good at this. Oh, I can't do this because it's like, this is hard work or this is tough to keep up with." That's true. You know, that'll separate people from who really wanna do what they do, and that's why what I'm doing here, I really wanna fucking do this. If I'm gonna be doing this for almost 5 years, it must mean Lex really wants to do this passion project of the Raptor Freak YouTube channel for all the Raptor fans around the world because this is what I want to do because I love the Raptors so much and I really do want them to win. Everything I said today is out of my heart to encourage them to do better. It's not to denigrate them or put them down or insult them. This is just me calling them out, you know? But this is true. This will separate people because this isn't always fun to do this show. This isn't always easy. This isn't always a walk in the park where it's just, yeah, show up at 9:30 on YouTube, Lex, and do the show. No, sometimes this is very hard to do. And sometimes there are moments where I like question whether I should even do this channel anymore. And I'm like, no, you need to do this channel because it's your thing and you love it. And even on the hard days, you love it more than you don't love it. And you're going to do it anyway. Yeah. Thank you for the words of wisdom, Trevor J. And use that example of me doing this channel to whatever it applies to in your life and what you're trying to do. Because if you want it that bad, you can do it like me. Trust me. You can do it like me. That's right. I appreciate you, Trevor, so much. I love you, man. And blessings to the Jones family and all the Raptor Freak families. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. In some ways, maybe say it's not talent that I have. No, there is talent that I have, but it's also the ability to be tenacious and do this. That's part of the talent. Let's see. Trevor's saying, happy game day. Let's get back to winning. Yes. Priority number one. I mean, in some ways, y'all don't necessarily have to show me you're not soft, but you can win. If you win, that'll help a whole lot of things. You know, my taste in my mouth has been so bad since it's flipped to March 2026 because it's been a lot of losing for the Raptors. They're 1-4 in this month since it flipped the calendar to the third month of this year. The Raptors 905 have been a reprieve of sunshine. In contrast, in some ways, thank you, Raptors 905. Thank you, Drew Jones. Thank you for your culture and y'all winning yesterday because you made me feel better. You know, I'm not totally with the rest of the Raptors Nation right now because if you're like me and you've been in YouTube for the Raptors 905 games, you can feel good right now and have a W in your cap and feel a little good. That's why I say, Raptors fans, start watching the 905 because it's an opportunity for you to get it out of your head and your mud of mental feelings and anguish because of the Raptors' current state. It's a balm to ease my sores. My sores. That sounds horrible. That's a balm to ease my pain. From the Raptors losing is to watch the Raptors 905 win. And you know what happened in the Raptors 905 game yesterday? Somebody tried to punk us. Yeah. Just like with DeJounte Murray and Jamal Shed. Somebody tried to punk the Raptors 905 yesterday. And maybe they've been watching the Raptors. I'm pretty sure the Raptors 905 guys keep track of the Raptors themselves. They may watch the games. I've wondered about this. You know, that may be smart if you're on the G League team to watch the main team of the franchise and be up to date on current affairs because maybe you could figure out, wow, they're needing this person. And maybe if I up my game, I can get up there. Yeah, they're probably watching, though. You think Jarkel Joyner watched the Raptors game against New Orleans the other night? You think Tyreek Key watched it? You think A.J. Hogarth watched it? Maybe. They may have seen Jamal Shed get punked by DeJounte Murray. And they may be a little bit on high alert for that because it seemed like it when some similar episode happened in the game in Westchester yesterday with the Knicks G League team. Yeah, somebody tried to punk A.J. Hogarth. And Jarkel Joyner wasn't having it. So at least I know Jarkel Joyner is not about that. And he will stand up, and he's not soft. And he will stand up for the reputation of the Raptors organization, unlike some of the Raptors will. This is Jarkel Joyner. He's on G League salary. He could lose a whole lot from getting in a big fight and getting in somebody's face, but he's willing to put it on the line. He's willing to get in there. Ooh, you're a hero, Jarkel Joyner. And if you get any fines or anything like that, I hope the Raptors organization pays for it because you're a hero. You stood up for your teammate AJ Hogarth against a bigger player named Isaiah Roby, who's a big ass, flaky ass, punk ass bitch. Honestly, Roby, why are you getting upset, bro? Everybody in the league's doing that little dirty shit on box outs now. Why you get upset about that? AJ Hogarth pulled a little elbow into you when you guys were trying to get a rebound. Oh, and you got mad. You turned around. You had a problem with that. So you got right up in his face and you pushed AJ like that. What happened? Did everybody ignore it on the Raptors 905? Did they just stand around like Scotty and Brandon did for Jamal Shed? No. Jarkel ran right in there and got right up in Isaiah Roby's face, a man who's almost 6'10", with a man who's almost 6'3", right in his fucking face. It's like, no, man, it's like that. And then Roby was all about it. He wanted to fight. And Jarkel wasn't backing down. And the coaches and everybody ran on the court, trying to separate everybody. Roby's dumbass is pushed around the other side. And then he runs around the other side, tries to come back at AJ Hogarth. Like, what the fuck is your problem, bro? What is your problem, Isaiah Roby? Seriously. Like, why are you so upset? And why are you trying to punk us? And you know what? The Raptors ain't doing that. At least on our G League level, we responded correctly. It's almost like Toronto Raptors. Go and watch the Raptors 905 game from yesterday and understand how you do this. It's like the development team's going to teach you. This is how you respond to somebody trying to punk your teammate. There's the evidence on there. It's like, thank you, Jarkel Joyner. And if Quincy Guerrier gets a fine for leaving the bench, for coming off the bench like that, the Raptors 905 or the Raptors organization should pay for that. Because seriously, those guys on G League don't make a lot of money. And if they're willing to go all out and protect their teammates to catch fines, why the fuck wouldn't millionaires like Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes? You know, Quincy Guerrier has a young daughter that he's supporting. And that, you know, if money comes out of his paycheck, he's going to get hurt much worse. And it'll affect him and his daughter much worse than Scotty Barnes and his daughter. But Quincy's all about that. Quincy's like, no, my teammates are in trouble. I'll risk coming off the bench, which is a big no-no. You will get in trouble for that. If I hear a fine for Quincy Guerrier for leaving the bench yesterday in the fracas in the Westchester Knicks game yesterday, I'll be disappointed, and I'll want the Raptors organization to pay for it. Because he has a little girl he's trying to support out there, and he don't need to be cutting his income because of this for that. And G League guys don't make that much money, guys. They gave a good example yesterday. Kudos to Jarkel Joyner. Kudos to AJ Hogarth. Kudos to Quincy Guerrier. And this is the crazy thing. Isaiah Roby tried to punk us even further in the game. He came down the court. He wanted to dunk on us, and he had a nasty dunk at one time. Then he tried to go for a second one later, and motherfucker got blocked by the rim right at the front. It was the most hilarious thing. It was so fucking funny. Right in front of all that school day kids. The whole entire arena at Westchester, White Plains, New York was filled with children watching. And Isaiah Roby, oh, he was so mad at us. His anger betrayed him. He came up. He's like, I'm going to throw it down on the Raptors. I'm so mad at AJ Hogarth and the little fight we had. And he threw the ball right into the front of the rim. Classic brick dunk, boom, back out of the way. So laughing. LMAO. All over the floor. Look at that. Look at that motherfucker. It's so stupid. Of course, the last laugh of the game isn't, watching Isaiah Roby brick a dunk or, our guys stand up for each other. You know what it is? It's the Raptors 905 winning the fucking game and beating Westchester's ass. And so, no, listen, you ain't going to punk us. And no, we ain't going out like that. Our coach is Drew Jones. We have culture, and we're going to fucking win this game, even if it's close, because that's what we do. And that's what they did. They won by 4 points at the end of the game. A fantastic win for Andrew Jones and them. They have a 3-game winning streak right now, and I'm proud of them, man. They had to execute at the end of the game because it was very close, and it could have gone either way. And the Raptors 905 show a tenacity on defense and making plays happen at the right time. In fact, the big play that got the swing for us, because we were down, and there were nephews in the 905 chat calling our demise already. Raptors sold. Raptors sold. I'm like, nephew, you don't see the clock? There's 4.5 minutes on the clock. This game ain't decided till 0-0 in the buzzer. Motherfucker, you can't be saying this game. The Raptors are soft. They're selling. They're selling to the Knicks. I'm like, no, they're not. You obviously have not watched the 905 season this year. It's a wild ride, my guy. It's high drama. You want entertainment. You want entertainment. You want to be entertained? Well, watch 905 because they're going to give you an entertaining game this close. And by the skin of their teeth, they'll win the game. Watch. And you'll feel, yeah. And that's what I got yesterday. That's what I needed. A palate cleanser from the New Orleans bullshit. That I needed the Raptors 905 to play at 11 a.m. yesterday in a school days game for the kids of New York that did good on their citizenship and their attendance. And I needed to see the Raptors 905 have a close, thrilling game, full of intrigue, full of excitement, full of a fracas, and see them execute under Drew Jones and win the game and get that big W and feel good. Because that made me feel better. Because the last game I watched the Raptors play, they won. Now, other Raptors fans that don't watch 905, you're still marinating on the bullshit from Wednesday night. Well, you're not as present as I am, or Monique Lawrence, or Isaac Campbell, or Fiercey Saucera, because they were all there. They saw this, and they enjoyed it. And we feel better. Trevor Jones, watching it at home and on his big screen TV. Yeah, they watched this, and we feel better because we've seen the Raptors' integrity in the organization is at least at the G League level. As far as not being soft and getting punked. Jarkel Joyner, thank you. That's what I'm saying right there. In some ways, you need that palate cleanser. Go watch the 905. And seriously, they have every reason to be bad right now and losing bad right now because of the two ways getting snatched up in the last 2 weeks going to the big league. No, not skipping a beat. New players here, new doing this. Markelle Fultz ain't doing jack shit to help them. It doesn't matter. They're going to still win because the culture is there and they are doing things right. And that is Drew Jones, man. Drew Jones is such a great coach, man. He really has a good future ahead of him as a coach and rising up in different levels. That man is probably going to be an NBA coach at some point. I'm going to say that right now. He's a superstar as far as his coaching ability and what he's doing for 905 the last 2 years. My number one star of the game, and the game last night is Brampton's own A.J. Lawson. You want to know what A.J. Lawson did to win this game for us, guys, and why he's the number one star? That motherfucker pulled off a 4-point play and caused a 7-point swing for us when we were down by 3. There was like 2 minutes to go, and A.J. Lawson goes up and takes a 3, gets fouled, hits the 3-point shot, and goes and makes the free throw, 4-point play. And then we get a turnover immediately after that, and Jarkel Joyner makes a basket, and then he gets a free throw and adds it, and that's a 7-point swing. And that is exactly what won the game for us. Because we were close with them, and it was very close. But then we got a little breathing room, and all of a sudden we were up by 4, and it was a 2-possession game. And we got the 7-0 streak on the Knicks at that point, and that was really what did it. So A.J. Lawson, thank you for a very timely 4-point play at the end of the game. That was absolutely the momentum shifter to the Raptors 905 winning. A.J. overall, 33 minutes for the bad man from Brampton. 28 points on 10 of 16 shooting, 4 of 8 from 3, 2 of 3 from free throws, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 turnovers, and 1 steal, a +7. Yeah, AJ's not always pretty. You know, sometimes he takes knuckleheaded shots and they look stupid. Sometimes he misses a free throw. But overall, AJ Lawson is a winner. And like RJ Barrett, I don't question what he's playing for. That man is playing for his city. So I know I can trust him. Thank you, AJ, for hitting that shot. You're the number one star of the game. My second star of the game is Jarkel Joyner. And it's partly because of the fight and how he stood up for business. Yeah, but it's also that he was one of the 3 Raptors 905 that scored over 20 points in this victory. Jarkel came off the bench, and his uncle was in the chat. And respect to Jarkel Joyner's uncle in the 905 chat on YouTube. Respect, bro. And man, I love your nephew. He's a great player, man. Seriously. 31 minutes for Jarkel, 22 points on 8 of 11 shooting. He was 3 of 4 from 3, 3 of 4 from the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 0 turnovers with 2 steals, a +10. Jarkel Joyner is not the tallest player, but he's a baller. And in some ways, his journey this year has been a sign of if you're a baller and a guy who's kind of a selfish kind of scorer kind of player, you can conform and play in a team identity kind of setting in the culture that Drew Jones has. You know, that's not always true. You know, JFL couldn't do it. Javon Freeman Liberty Kennedy Chandler couldn't do it, but Jarkel can. Jarkel has amended his play in the G League from very different from when he was on Skyhawks for Atlanta's team. He was very, very doted on when he was in College Park. His number was called constantly. He got all the shooting opportunities of the world. He was the number one option. He'd get like 30 shots a game, and he was high volume, but not necessarily quality. It was quantity. And well, when he came here, he didn't start. He was a starter and the number one guy for College Park, but here he's a bench role player, scorer off the bench. In some ways, he's a Lou Williams. A very, very good six man who can fill it up in the hoop, go to the basket, shoot some threes, nice little middies, just a hooper kind of guy, like JFL, like Kennedy Chandler, like Lou Williams, the six man that Drake sings about. And, he's conformed his game to fit into Drew Jones's culture and system. And I commend him for that. It shows that he's not stubborn. It shows that he can be taught. It shows that he can conform and change for the needs of the team. And the thing is, it's got such a point that he's done the job of doing that it circles back around and all of a sudden he can be his old self on College Park for the Toronto Raptors, Raptors 905 G League team. That he can be that dude in some ways like he was yesterday to help the Raptors 905 win within the system of Drew Jones. And it's not taking away from everybody else's game. He's not selfishly just the ball hog. He's doing things in the right times in the flow of the game and when his number is called and he's executing. So commending so much to Jarkel Joyner. In some ways, on the down low, he's one of the biggest MVPs for this 905 team this whole entire year. I'm going to say that right now. And I respect and I recognize what you're doing, number one, just so you know. Third star of the game yesterday is the other guy who got 20, and it's more Canadian content. This is the thing, man. I tell you right now, I don't ever question Canadian guys that play for the Raptors organization because they have their heart in the right place. And Quincy Guerrier, he's another one of those guys. Quincy's got his health up to a good place where he can go get 20. And he's off the bench also. We got two 20-point scorers off the bench in the 905 game yesterday. That's a luxury right there. 29 minutes for Q, 20 points on 7 of 9 shooting, 2 of 3 from 3. So he's hitting threes also at a really good rate. 2 of 3 from the free throw line, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnovers, and a block, a plus 12 for Big Q. Now, with Sarr and Roddy and Reese gone, our big men situation is dire. And at the beginning of this game, the Knicks were running roughshod over us because we ain't got no bigs. And in some ways, we could only afford to play one big at times. We're playing like 4 guards and 1 big, and they're not even a true center. It's Quincy Guerrier, who's in some ways in the NBA a small forward, maybe a power forward, but he's having to play center. And, they're not playing Guerrier with Samuel all the time. Like that to me is the most complete front line because you have 2 bigs. But in some ways, the depth chart that Andrew Jones has to deal with right now doesn't have any other bigs other than those 2 guys. So he's got to flip them out for each other. And we play with only 1 big right now in the 905. And the Knicks ate us for lunch. I mean, they've got multiple bigs on their team, and they're not lacking for bigs. Now, did we get out rebounded? Did we get beat? Yeah, we probably did get out rebounded. But did we have somebody out there fighting and trying to hold it down for us? Yes, we did. And that was Big Q. And he was in there in the fray doing his best to do as much big man stuff for us, whether it was defensively or rebounding, rim protection. He's trying to do that. And he's mixing it up at the other end. And he's taking very confident threes and making very strong moves near the basket and putting points on the board for us. So salute to Quincy Guerrier of the Montreal Alliance, Team Canada, and Raptors 905. You are a badass, man. You're fast becoming one of my favorite underrated players that are not in the NBA. Most people in the world may not know who Quincy Guerrier is, but for me, you're always going to be a Canadian legend. Seriously, bro. You are a cult classic legend to me, Quincy Guerrier. All right, let's keep going. In the stars, the 4th star of the game for yesterday is Tyreek Key. Tyreek has been steady with his scoring. He's been a great leader on the floor, the general, as far as going to get baskets when we're starting to stagnate. Tyreek will put the gas on and accelerate to the basket all of a sudden and get these really good layups in transition. And also, he's good for threes a lot of time too. So 32 minutes for Tyreek Key, 18 points on 5 of 10 shooting, 2 of 5 from 3, 3 of 3 at the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 0 turnovers, a plus 12. Yeah, it's simple. It's not a huge game. He's had bigger games in recent week, but he's solid in coming in and putting his contributions. We need all these kind of guys like Joyner and Hogarth and Key to contribute their parts to put into the contributions. We need them. We need them to fill it up to help us. And Tyreek's doing that. My last star of the game for the game yesterday is AJ Hogarth. AJ off the bench is a great backup point guard. You notice I'm not naming Markelle Fultz either of the games he's played so far because he has not played well. And AJ Hogarth's played better than him. People were asking me, how's Fultz doing? Well, I'll tell you, he's not doing better than most of the 905 teams, so I don't see him getting on the Raptors. Whatever that report Michael Grange put out saying that Markelle Fultz is trying out for the Raptors' last roster spot, well, he ain't getting it. I can tell you that right now. He ain't getting it because he has no factor in the G League. AJ Hogarth's better than him. AJ Hogarth deserves to be in the last roster spot of the Raptors as the backup point guard of the Raptors 905. Then Markelle Fultz deserves to get that spot. I'm just going to say that. And I'm going to go in on talking about Markelle Fultz after I finish with AJ Hogarth here. It's just my whole point is AJ Hogarth deserves to be on this team more. Jarkel Joyner deserves to be on the Raptors more. AJ Lawson deserves to be converted more. AJ Hogarth, Tyreek Key. These guys all deserve to be on the Raptors more than Markelle Fultz because they've been way better players than Markelle has on this team so far. And it would not make any sense. And from what I see, AJ, 25 minutes, 12 points, 4 of 9 shooting, 2 of 3 from 3, 1 of 3 at the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 turnovers, 1 steal, 1 block, a plus 11. Yeah, just solid backup point guard work. 12 points, 6 rebounds, shooting 4 of 9. It could be worse. It could be better. Like I said, AJ had that little elbow with Roby, and that really caused a whole lot of things there. Yeah, let's see. All right, going over the rest of the team. All right, Markelle. Markelle started, number 26. This is the second game Markelle Fultz has played for the Raptors 905 and started. Both games have had very similar stat lines. Both games. And this is pretty much what his stat line looked like on Sunday, too. 23 minutes, 6 points on 2 of 8 shooting. 2 of 8. He shot 2 of 8 on Sunday, too, guys. So he's not a good shooter. He's not going to be helping us with shooting if we're going to bring him to the Raptors. So I don't see why we'd bring him if he's a horrible shooter. We already got bad shooting. 1-on-1 at the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 turnovers, 1 steal, a plus 7. That's Markelle's stat line. 3 assists, 3 turnovers. OJ Hogarth got 6 assists and 3 turnovers. Yeah, it's just not going to happen. That's what I'm going to say. Oh, no, he got 6 assists and 3 turnovers. Both of them did. It's just, this is the thing with Markelle. He's a number 1 pick. He's on one of his last chances around the NBA right now with the 905. This is kind of like your last grasp for an NBA career or being around the league in any kind of way. This is exactly what this is, Markelle. For somebody that's at that point of desperation with their career, you'd think they'd fucking try harder. You'd think they'd be going all out. You'd think they'd be showing us something. But there's nothing there, man. Maybe he just sucks. Maybe the Sixers organization was horrible with their draft considerations and their research. And they were like, oh, Markelle Fultz, number 1. We should pick him. The man was always a dud because the man is not a good player. I don't understand why everybody hypes him up and thinks he's so great because he ain't done nothing in his life that has earned that kind of admiration. Maybe in college. I didn't watch him. I don't know. I don't care because he sucks. The man can't shoot. He's not a great passer. I mean, they say he's a great passer, but I haven't seen it totally in this 2-game stint. And he's not a good defender either. What the fuck is he going to give to anybody? Like, what is he going to do? He's not going to get that last roster spot. Whoever is thinking that, you're crazy. Grange, you're crazy for even suggesting that. There's no way. And if that happened, I'd be like, Bobby Webster needs to be tested for drugs because he's on drugs if he's going to put Markelle Fultz in the last roster spot for the Raptors right now, because he does not check off any of our needs at all. He doesn't check off any needs for the 905 right now at this point. This is how lame he is. Bro, are you playing for your life or not? No, you're just walking around. You don't give a shit. Well, you don't give a shit. All right, you're out. You're going to be gone. This is your last stop. If any other NBA organizations call you after this, I'd be shocked, because you're washed, bro. This is it. So much promise. So much saying you go in the way of Anthony Bennett. And that's just how it is. You know, you can't just think because you're overly talented baller in college or any other level below the NBA that, oh, it's just a magically going to happen. You're going to have to want it. You're going to have to work for it. And you're going to have to kind of, in some ways, politic to be involved to get to it. If you're not a team player, you're not going to go along with your teams, conform your game. You're going to be arrogant. You're not going to do things right. You don't care about things in the right way. You're going to fucking bounce out of this league. And Fultz, that's what's happening, bro. Because honestly, you're not adding anything to this 905 team to help them right now. We're doing you a favor by giving you a last chance, because in some ways you're not pulling your weight. There's guys that have nowhere near the chance to get the NBA, and you've already been in the NBA and had that privilege, and they deserve it way more than you right now. So yeah, I'm not a big fan. I think he's been a big waste of time. I think that in some ways it's a good idea, Luke Wynn. You tried, but it's a failure. This guy is a waste of time. And honestly, if he plays the rest of the season for the 905, that's great. If he shows something by the end of the season, that's great. If he can help us in the playoffs and do something, that's fantastic. I hope he does. But the deadline for him to do something, to get on the Raptors, is 2 days from now. And they don't play again before then. So everything you showed Bobby Webster is in the 2 games that you just played, and it's not enough. We have to fill this roster spot on the 15th. That's in 2 days. That's Sunday. You're not gonna get a chance to do this. There's no way that if he did that, like I said, I'd have to say Bobby Webster's gone off his rocker if he puts Markelle Fultz in that spot. We much better be getting your old teammate from Orlando, Cole Anthony, and throwing him in that spot than Markelle Fultz. He's a waste. And this is Lex's professional opinion from being the dude who does this channel and scouts people on the regular. Markelle Fultz is a waste. He's a waste. There's not going to be anything you can derive from him right now. I'm going to say that right now, guys. If he has it, well, you're wasting your time not showing it because you didn't bring it. The thing I'm wondering is, if he's so good, he's NBA level, why can't he just pick the pocket of G League guys? Like, so it's easy. Like, there's a certain level of distinguishing yourself above the G League level competition. You can ask Trace Jackson Davis about that. He did that the other day. He made it very clear that his level of who he is above the league that the G League is. Markelle Fultz has not shown this in any kind of way. In fact, he looks like an ordinary G League player, or even a low-end G League player, not a top premium G League player that everybody's dying and clamoring to try and sign, like Julian Reese or David Roddy. No. The impact is not there. The man's not trying. It seems like he's not trying. And it's just not effective. It's not translating. I would say if you have one skill that you're very good at, Markelle Fultz, you needed to fucking do it and show it off and do it overpoweringly. And I thought maybe that one skill is stealing the ball from people. Because you have an NBA level of knowledge, you should be able to be out competing them and out talenting them by just tricking them, because you're a vet and you're smarter than the younger G League players that aren't as talented and not as good. Why can't you just go steal the ball from them whenever you want? Because you're not. You're exactly what I just said. You're exactly like them. You're not an NBA player. You're a bust. You're a busted number 1 pick. And you're not trying to reclaim the glory or the status of where you were supposed to be in your prospect. You're not. You're not trying. I can see it on the court. You don't give a shit. Well, you're not giving a shit. It's going to get you out. You're going to be out very soon. So hasta la vista, baby. That's what I say. Tyson Degenhart got a start yesterday, 32 minutes, 11 points on 3 of 9 shooting, 1 of 4 from 3, 3 of 4 from the free throw line, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover, and +3. Tyson's like the third big man for our team right now. Like, in some ways, this man should be a small forward, but he's having to play power forward and center a lot since the 2-ways got called up. So it's like crazy because he's not really that kind of guy with his frame. but it's crazy. He's doing an adequate job. He at least is a shit disturber on defense that slows down the other bigs, even if he's not as strong or bigger than them. He's doing some good positional work on defense to be slightly effective in slowing down the other team. So salute to you, Tyson. And the more and more you can score in different ways, the more I'll be happy. Tyrese Samuel was starting also yesterday. He was the starting center. 28 minutes, 7 points on 2 of 5 shooting. He made both his free throws, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, and a -6. I love Tyrese Samuel's game, man. He's got such a great wingspan. He's very strong, and he's a keeper. You know, we traded a draft pick to get him, Luke Wynn. I want to see him on our team next year too. Okay? Let's keep Tyrese Samuel in the fold. And once again, he's another Canadian guy. We can't go wrong with that, right? Tyler Perry got 1 minute of garbage time at the end of the game. A little bit of the Timbit victory cigar is what you get with Tyler Perry at this point. You know, they've been starting all the ties. I'm like, why don't you start Tyler too? Because you got Tyson, Tyrese, Tyreek, and Tylor. We could have all 4 ties, 4 the ties that bind us on the Raptors 905 team, our names. Caleb Stone Cold Carrawell came into the game for just a sec, 5 minutes. He missed both his threes that he took, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover, 1 steal, a -1. Stone Cold Carrawell was stone cold from the field. He missed both his shots. And yeah, that's the bench. That's the whole lineup for the 905 in the 124-120 victory over Westchester Knicks and the school kids. I'm going to say this. The school kids in New York are not as organized as the ones in Mississauga. And the Mississauga kids, you guys are relentless with your cheering. You're doing it the right way. I love you guys for it. Keep doing it that way. Seriously, y'all are fantastic. The last couple of years, the school day crowd for the Raptors 905 is 10 out of 10. You kids are awesome. And when I watch the school days crowd for the Westchester Knicks, well, they're full. Their capacity, they're loud, but they're not organized like you guys. And they're not chanting like you guys do. They're a little bit more all over the place and kind of distracted. I mean, kids will get distracted. So I really appreciate the children of the 905 that show up for the 905. That's right. On the other side, let's give some credit to Nick Jourdain with 22 points for them on 8 of 11 shooting. Dylan Jones had a double-double, 21 points with 10 assists. And Dink Pate had a double-double also, 10 points with 11 rebounds. Yeah, they had solid guys. They had 7 guys in double digits. And, you know, they had different weapons that were annoying us. And like I said, Isaiah Roby, fuck you, man. Fuck you. 2-finger salute to Isaiah Roby. You got a bad attitude, bro. Bad attitude. And, you know, you're going to try and go at a little guy like that? You're a punk-ass bitch is what I'm going to say about Isaiah Roby right there. Yeah, all right. Team stats real quick. Did they out-rebound us? Was that something that happened? Yes, they did. 50-42. That could have been way worse. We shot 52% from the field. They shot 44%. That was a huge factor. We got 14 threes. They got 16 threes. We did get more free throw attempts than them, and we did shoot better at the free throw line than them. Assist to turnover ratio. We have a 2-1, 24-13, and they have a better one, 28-12. So they actually beat us in that category this time. Fast break points, really huge for the Raptors 905. In fact, the announcers of Westchester Knicks were saying that the Raptors 905, all their good stuff is happening from speeding up the game and getting down the court fast. And that's true. 21 points for the Raptors on fast break, only 5 for the Westchester Knicks. And we beat them in the paint, even though we were a smaller team. 48-44 on the points in the paint. So, yeah, fantastic win for the 905. And that's how you do it, Raptors. That's how you stand up for your teammate. That's how you get pissed off and you come back and you beat the team. And that's the last laugh is the W. You get the W, you're good. So learn from your G League team, Raptors, Toronto Raptors. Learn from that experience. I don't know how much y'all watch them. You know, I'm wondering who's watching who. Are the Raptors watching the Raptors 905? Because Jonathan Mobo's down there, Scotty. And you're watching Jonathan's games sometimes, and you're a basketball junkie anyway. And in some ways, you want to watch basketball. And hey, it's Raptors basketball. And it has a connection to you. And you have a vested interest in the franchise of the Raptors, right, Scotty? So maybe you're watching 905 games. Maybe you could watch that 905 game yesterday and could see how Jarkel Joyner stood up for his teammate. And you could learn something from that, Scotty Barnes? Maybe, maybe. And 905 guys, you watching the Raptors? You checking on them all the time? I wonder. I'll bet you they are. I'll bet you they do watch each other and they're very up to date on each other. Maybe it's part of the prerequisite. It's important. The 905 guys probably definitely have to watch Toronto Raptors games. But do the Toronto Raptors watch the 905 games? That's what I'm wondering. Meanwhile, Pascal Siakam, a great G League legend of the Raptors 905, a champion with the Raptors 905. Well, what did he do recently? He showed up in Noblesville to go to a Boom game. Siakam's an all-star this year. Siakam doesn't need to do this. Why does he go to a G League game? Because he's a proud alumni of the G League. And in some ways, he understands that the battles and the trying to do things on that level, he's been through it, so he can relate to the guys that are down there. Then he can come down there and mentor them and give words of encouragement and teach them stuff. And that's what he did. He went to a G League game with the Noblesville Boom. He never played for that team. He plays for the Pacers, and that is their G League team. And sure, some of the two ways and the assignment players are guys that he gets to play with on the Pacers. But why would he do that? Because he is one of the most prominent G League success stories in the NBA. And in some ways, Siakam isn't above going to a G League game and supporting the Noblesville Boom. So salute to Pascal, one of the greatest Raptors of all time. And, being humble and knowing where he came from and revisiting it. It's not the 905. And, he would be going to 905 games every season when he was on the Raptors and out of there still. Sometimes you need to go and remember where you came from and how far you came. That's what I'm saying right there, man. It's just awesome, man. It's just awesome. All right, I'll get more in the chat. I'm sorry I've been going off. I've been talking about so much stuff. It's been exciting. The 905 game really did help me feel better about the Raptors. And I honestly, seriously, you guys should do this. You should watch them too. You really should. You really should. I know not 11 a.m. is not the best time to watch a game, though. It was fun, though. It was a lot of fun. Let's see. Trevor's saying SGA passed Wilt Chamberlain for the most consecutive games with 20 points history last night. Yeah, we knew he was going to do this. I mean, this was probably like shooting fish in a barrel that this was going to happen. I mean, if he's gone this long with this streak, why would he mess up at this point? It's like getting 20 points in a game for SGA. That's easy. Isn't he always saying that, like, I have to get 30 for me to actually be the factor of who I am? I think he often says that. He said, if I don't get 30, it's not right. I haven't played good enough. So he's damn for sure going to get 20. I don't like all this shade that's coming at Bam Adebayo right now for his accomplishment this week. You know what it is. And it really does show the noisiness of Lakers Nation. Lakers Nation hates this. They hate that Bam did this. So they're trying to do every single thing possible to diminish the accomplishment of the 83 points by Bam Adebayo for overshadowing Kobe. Lakers Nation hates this so much, guys. And so they're on a full PR campaign of perception to denigrate the accomplishment and try and say asterisk this, asterisk that, and try and water it down as not as important as it is. This is a great example of how some of the fan nations in our NBA have power to try and shape the perception of things to a bad place. It worked against the Lakers with their last championship, the Mickey Mouse championship. Most of the NBA fans believe that it is not a legit championship because of the settings and how it happened. And there's some real credence to this. So take that kind of energy and let's go at Bam Adebayo with it from Lakers Nation right now. Is that fair? Eric Spoelstra is making apologies. No, he's not. He's making no apologies for what he did with Bam Adebayo. He's proud of what he did, and it is amazing, and it's a huge accomplishment. And sure, there can be an argument made that Kobe Bryant, out of the three accomplishments, did it the different way than Wilt and Bam did. I mean, they're different positions. Of course he did it a different way. He's going to shoot more outside, and those guys are going to feast on the inside. Of course. That is part of the makeup of the difference between a center and a guard. Come on now. But yeah, I don't like this. And understand that this energy about denigrating Bam Adebayo's 83 game this week is coming directly from Laker Nation. It's coming directly from Laker fans who don't like this overshadowing of Kobe Bryant all of a sudden. So they're making up all kinds of reasons why Bam's accomplishment is false or not real or shouldn't be accounted for in contrast to everything else. So understand this. Seriously, it's kind of crazy, man. And you can see it and understand that there's that kind of energy that comes from New York fans that does denigration and perception wars also. And that affects the Raptors and Raptors on our team all the time, especially ones that used to play for them, especially. Yeah. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. Reggie, good morning to you. Raptors trivia champion, current Raptor Freak trivia champion, Smooth Brown Man. Yeah, this dude knows his stuff, and he worked really hard last year to get his trivia championship. Well, who's going to be the trivia champion this year? We'll have to see. Right now, it's looking like Miss MJ, the Fiercey Salsera. That's right. Ingram and Barnes let their teammates get disrespected. IQ is the only one who came to his aid. Yeah, yeah, and that's why. Listen, I give passes because RJ was on the bench. He couldn't be out there. In some ways, it's nobody on the bench is supposed to run on the court. That's a big no-no in this league, and they're not very nice in saying, "Oh, that's your reason why you went out there." No, they're not going to take any reasons. They're just going to say the rule is hard and fast, and it's just like you can't leave. If you leave the bench, you're adding more bodies, and it becomes more of a melee and a fracas. And we don't want that malice in the palace energy. So yeah, you leave the bench, you're in trouble. So RJ he's on an electric fence leash. His dog can't come out to play because he's on the bench at that moment when that incident happens. Or if he was on the bench, he would have done something. He would have Serge Ibaka. He would have. If RJ had been on the floor when Shed had that happen to him, he would have been over there right away. That's the difference. And in some ways, that's why I overvalue RJ and keeping him even more than even Scott, because I know everything that's going on with RJ is true and pure and easy to know. There's no under stuff. It's all pure and right there. RJ is RJ. You get what you get. You see what you see, you get that. Scotty, in some ways, he's great. I love him. I know he loves Toronto. I know that he loves a lot of things about everything. In some ways, there are places where Scotty could betray us. And I don't want that to ever happen. Not saying Scotty will, but the chances of him doing it are way higher than RJ. And I'm just saying, when you're a franchise that's gone through Vince Carter's exit and Chris Bosh's exit, you can be a little sensitive to this kind of energy and this kind of stuff developing. And that's why I would caution to Scotty Barnes. You said a long time ago, the responsibility of getting the keys of being a franchise player for a team is a very big responsibility that you don't take lightly. You got to keep asking yourself that every single day and exactly what your position and what your passion is as the franchise leader of the Toronto Raptors. Because listen, I don't want to doubt your willingness to do things for this team because we need the person in your position to go all out and be for this team. But in some ways, the incident that happened the other night shows that there's something wrong there. And in some ways, you got to be about it for us, like RJ would be. In some ways, RJ is a role model for you guys to be for the Raptors in the correct way. Because he is purely for the Raptors. It's obvious. In fact, he is publicly all about saying it. I love the Raptors. I love playing for this team. It was my childhood dream. I've always wanted to play for them. And there's nothing that is any different than that. Some guys would hide that. Some people would have their agent tell you, no, don't say that, bro. You're giving the Raptors so much leverage in our contract negotiations down the road. RJ don't care. He's just the truth. And he has to say that because he feels it so strongly and he has to put it out there. So, Raptors fans, listen to RJ when he says this and appreciate that. Appreciate that because there are question marks around any American who plays for the Toronto Raptors. I don't care who it is, whether they are truly for our team or not, because of, all kinds of different reasons. We know Vince Carter, Chris Bosh. You can look at those examples and understand why I'm sensitive to this. That's what I'm saying. Raptors champs saying, good morning, Raptors freaks and champs. I remember thinking how much love Jamal shows his leaders in interviews and watching them do nothing. I wanted to run on the court from my couch. I know. I was so pissed. I really can't stand DeJounte Murray. I've never liked him. I've always thought he was a fraud. I always thought he was like just a cocky dude that had a lot of talent. But in some ways, he's not a team player. And he's not somebody that is doing things right in his NBA career, obviously, if nobody's really trying to hold on to him and develop him. In some ways, San Antonio was very good for him, and he learned some lessons, but he was also a knucklehead, and he didn't stay in their long-term plans. Atlanta didn't work with him and Trey. It was a dumb idea in the first place. Partly it's because they were too similar, and in some ways they're both knuckleheads in the wrong way. So it's like, DeJounte Murray, if you're somebody who's just had failure a lot in your NBA career and you finally got some success and that's how you react, that's how you act out, man, you're a horrible winner and you don't deserve to win more in your career. You deserve to lose a lot. If you're going to not take the responsibility of being a winner and take it with grace, you're going to act like a clown. Well, you deserve to lose more and more throughout your NBA career and fail out of the league. That's what I say. Can we trade this guy back to the Wizards or something? That's what I would do. Has he been on the Wizards yet? Oh, I'm getting him confused with Jordan Poole. Yeah, him and Jordan Poole are similar. Oh, they're on the same team. That's right. They're on the Pelicans, both of them. Well, maybe we would send DeJounte Murray to Washington for a little while and humble him a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. I was so pissed about that too, because it's true. And Lewinberg talks about this in his article about this, is that Jamal Shedd's one of the best guys on the team. He's an all for one for all guy. He's a dude that would do that for the other guys if that happened to them. So why the fuck wouldn't you do that for Jamal, Scotty? Is what I'm asking, man. Seriously. And he pumps you guys up all the time. He's talking about IQ this, Brandon this, Scotty this, RJ this. He pumps you guys up all the time. Oh, Yak, he's so smart, man. I love having Yak on my team. Shed's a big cheerleader of all you guys in the starting lineup. But you don't have his back for him? That don't look right. That's not right, man. That's not right. G's saying this. We all love Scotty, but he is not immune to criticism. When he is mid physically and mentally, the team is mid. He's the franchise player. He needs to shoot more, drive to the rim, and rebound. Tough love will help him. We can't keep blaming other players all the time, as Scotty scores 9 and does nothing to stand up for Shed. He needs to hear it too, as far as I'm concerned. Scotty may actually have an ear to me at a certain extent, because it's very interesting. We love you, Scott, first of all. And everything we're saying here is just kind of like, think of it as this is like an anonymous, it's not anonymous, but think of this as a fan sounding board of constructive criticism that wants the best for this team first. We want the best for you second. And that's the order. And that's why I may come at it this direction, because, we're going to be fans of this team no matter who's playing for this team. We love you, man. We think that you're amazing. We think that you could be the ultimate best franchise player in this whole entire league. I see this potential. And there's been times where we have been constructively criticizing Scott, or maybe even being a little mean to him. And I've seen him change in the games. And I don't know if it's him having an ear to us. Maybe Lloyd checks in on us for him. Maybe there's somebody in his group that's like, yeah, Raptors Freak said this. He said that. Like, what do you think? What do you think we should do? It's like, well, this is what the Raptors Freaks are saying on the channel today. Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Maybe we should do that. Scotty has listened to me, and he's using what I told him like years ago, still to this day. Scotty was talking to us saying, man, I hate doing interviews. They're nerve-wracking. I'm not a natural speaker. Raptors Freak told him, I said, Scotty, here's some techniques to help you. Ask them to repeat the question. And if you don't hear them clearly, get them to do that. That's always a good way to stall to get your answer. And he does that all the time. You can tell. You see him in the interview. Somebody asked him a question. He said, can you repeat that, please? He started doing that. He used that technique. I taught him that technique. I told him to do that. He started doing it. There was other thing that's kind of a sign that he does take input from people. He asked us all after his rookie year in Twitch, who do you guys think I should play like? He straight up asked us that. He's like, who do you guys think I'm like? He didn't say play like. He said, who do you guys think I am like my playing style and who I am? Because he really was a blob of clay that Darko's molding very much himself. But in some ways, there's like Brian Macon's molding him. Bobby Webster probably molded him to a degree. His teammates mold him with ideas and teaching him stuff. Like Brandon's probably taught him stuff. He asked us, and I was the one who said 3 guys. Remember, and I've said this very consistently since the beginning: Magic Johnson, Kawhi Leonard, and Tim Duncan. Now, everybody laughed at me that summer in Twitch for saying Kawhi Leonard and Tim Duncan. Everybody could see the Magic Johnson stuff. That's easy to see because the passing level and the unselfishness, it's real easy to see Scotty's connection to Magic Johnson. And Magic Johnson said himself, the guy in the league that plays the most like me is Scotty Barnes. And well, when I said Tim Duncan, people were like, what? They didn't see that. And when I said Kawhi Leonard, they were like, you're crazy. We think he's like Draymond Green. And you think he's like Kawhi Leonard, Raptors freak? Yeah. And who's more right at this point? 4 years later, who's more right? This guy. Because in some ways, maybe Scotty never dreamt that he could be like the finals MVP for the Toronto Raptors in 2019 and have an offensive overpowering skill set like that. But I saw the skills in him. I saw the potential. I don't think Scotty wanted to be the player he is right now initially. He wanted to be that point guard that everybody's saying, no, Scotty's a point guard. He's going to be the point guard. He's going to be like Magic. I was like, no, we don't need to do that. And somehow, some way, when he asked us that, I said, Scotty, I see Kawhi Leonard in you. I see Tim Duncan. He's like, really, Raptors Street? Really? Interesting. Could Scotty have taken the impulse to say, you know what? I want to go study Kawhi. I want to go study Tim Duncan on defense as a team defender and help. And can you see what I'm talking about as far as the comparisons that nobody saw after his rookie year that he could grow into, that he's at this point, years down the road? Because he is one of the best help defenders in the league, and he is blocking shots like Tim Duncan would now, isn't he? Can you say that now? Does Lex's prediction that Scotty Barnes could be like Tim Duncan, it seem like it's so far off at this point where he is right now? No. But this is the thing. He was blind to see the direction he's going to go as a player. He's admitted, I didn't know who I was going to become as an NBA player. It's all very interesting to me because I had other ideas about who I was. Like when he played 2K, he was building a Russell Westbrook build. Like he's a shooting guard, small shooting guard. And that's the player he wanted to play as on the 2K video game. Is that who he wanted to play as in real life? Building a Russell Westbrook kind of style shooting guard, strong shooting guard, stealing the ball and shooting threes? Is that who he want to be in his real life? No, that's not confitting to his natural skills and his natural strengths. No, the things that I saw was that broad shoulders, the ability to block shots, to get somewhere real quick. And I said, he's a help defender and he's going to be like Tim Duncan. And well, maybe it opened his eyes to it. So maybe he is taking comment cards from different places and saying, maybe I should do that. Maybe I can do that. Hey, Brian Macon, do you guys think I could play more like Kawhi on offense? Oh, Scotty, you could do that for sure. We'll start a program this summer, and I'll start moving you in that direction with your mid-range and your turnarounds. Okay, Brian, let's do it. Like, seriously. I don't know. Scotty, if you're taking customer cards today, I've said what I have to say about it. It's up to you now, man. Because in some ways, look, I don't care if you get involved in fights. In some ways, that's your own personal choice. You don't have to do this necessarily. Because in some ways, it is smart for a very key, important player not to be the enforcer. Because the enforcer should be able to be thrown out and it doesn't hurt the team from winning. And you being the enforcer and you getting thrown out, that's not usually a good recipe. You know what I'm saying? Your best player being your enforcer also is not usually a good recipe. Now, as long as you're there to stand and you're not going out of things, or maybe you're jumping in there, separating people and stuff like that, that's good. But you don't have to necessarily be Charles Oakley or Serge Ibaka. We could get one of the other guys who's not as important to do that more. But I want to see that you care. I want to see that you care about us losing so much lately and that you're trying your ass off to make sure that we get back to this. And you can do that tonight. You can do that tonight. That's it right there. I totally agree, man. Scotty should not be immune to criticism, and he'll agree with that too, because that's the only way he gets better. That's the only way he gets better. Raptors champ saying, I'm even tired of hearing that Scotty is injured every time his heart and will is in question. There was a really fishy absence right after All-Star break. There could be something personally going on for Scott that's a little distracting and difficult right now. In some ways, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt for that. I really do. I really do. Shaq Lindsay saying, pump the brakes. We all have a part in this. If we want results, we need to put more pressure on team front office and ourselves. Well, there's the time to do that and the time not to do that. It's all within the schedule of the season and the year. The time for this is the offseason or the trade deadline. Trade deadline's passed. The team that we've got right now is basically the team we're going to have other than filling this roster spot with a buyout or converting a two-way and shuffling maybe minor deals around. Bobby's going to do something in the next 2 days. He's going to bring us a new player by Sunday. And, it'll be interesting to see what he decides. So there is going to be something from him to help. And we'll just have to see what that puzzle piece is to help with the bench scoring and maybe some veteran leadership off the bench to help in winning time late in the game. And that really is my list right now. My list is not bigs or rebounding. Some people may have that, but we got Trace. We're good. We got Colin coming back from his injury. We'll be good. We need more 3-point shooting. We need a veteran that knows how to play in this league to teach them how to win and keep games in the right way. And it'd be nice if they were, able to hit threes and do really good with that. We need threes, honestly. We need a scorer off the bench to help bolster the offense off the bench. And if he can fit all that in this one spot, and it could be Cole Anthony, this could work. This could work. This could be helpful in that way. Yeah, I'm going to say this because you know when I come at people and criticize them, I want to start where it starts, and I really do blame Brandon Ingram, like number one, highly on the list ahead of everybody for the loss in New Orleans 2 days ago. Absolutely, and maybe some people thought I was unfairly singling him out, but no, he is the lightning rod reason why we lost the Pelicans. He is absolutely. And I would say he's like 60% the reason why we lost the Pelicans. I would say that, seriously. Some ways it's not Scott having a dud game. It's Brandon being a fake and acting like he cares about the Raptors winning, and he didn't. He didn't care. That makes me more mad than anything. In some ways, Scotty being apathetic to not rise to the occasion to be the leader or take over the game and stuff like that. This is kind of a thing we've been dealing with already, but he's growing at his own pace and he's filling in these roles more and more over time. It's just not as fast enough or in the way that it's leading to success in every moment coming up. But he's coming there. He's moving in that direction, is the way I see it. G saying, I agree. We just said the same thing. Leaders need a lead. That's right. That's right. Raptors champ saying, salute to Quickly. That's right. Slug DZ, good morning to you. King of the Classic card. I would give Boucher $30.3 million to protect our players. I know he would never allow this. That's a guy who would be in there. He would be in there, sure. Even with his stringy arms. Yeah, he would be in there. He would be in there. That's exactly right. He's one of those guys like that. And what is it again? He's Canadian. He's Canadian. And in some ways, he would stand for the Raptors like that. He wouldn't stand like that for the Celtics, I don't think, though. Not the way they treated him. Not the way they treated him. Trevor J saying, y'all all need to stop being ungrateful to certain players because of their performance. We're supposed to ride or die with a team. I'm doing that with them, Trevor. I love this team. That's part of the problem. See, I don't want this team to do this season what they've done in games. Yeah, this is the thing. They could be a microcosm for the whole entire season. Think about the season as a game, and there's 4 quarters. There's the first part of the season. Think about the first part of the season. Raptors lose a little bit at the beginning of the game. They get off to a bad start, but then they go on a crazy run in the first quarter and get a 9-point winning streak, a 9-point run, and they're all of a sudden up big by November. And that's the first quarter of the game. How did we do? We're ahead. We're ahead. We're above 500. We're a playoff team. We're number 3 seed in the NBA East. And then going into the second quarter, starting in December into January. And what's that like? Oh, there's a lot of games. It's hot and heavy. This is a very competitive quarter in the season of the Raptors. Very, very hot and heavy, but they're holding their own. And they're scoring just right with the team and even outscoring them a little bit and building on top of their above 500 record and getting a nice margin where they're like 10 games above 500. Now they fall a little bit in the standings and they go down to 4th or maybe 5th and then down to 5th. But yeah, that's where they're at. And then it's halftime. And let's say halftime's just a little bit before the All-Star break. Well, right now we're in the third quarter, just about to end the third quarter. And what is the team doing right now? Yeah, what we've been doing in games recently. They're stagnating. They're starting to not have an offense. They're starting to lose the lead. The other teams are starting to take the advantage of that and get ahead of us in the standings, like Orlando and Miami. So take the whole season as a microcosm of the game being a microcosm of the whole season. And it's like a minute to go in the third right now is what we're dealing with right now. Or maybe it just ended. We're starting the fourth quarter right now. And the Raptors have the fourth quarter to go for the season. How's this fucking fourth quarter going to go, Trevor? Is this fourth quarter going to be rollover and lose by the end of the season and fall right out of the play-in even? Or stay in the play-in? That's a fail in some ways because we had a playoff spot legitimately. And we have a dogfight right now. This is up to them. If I don't light a fire under their ass right now and they continue to play the way they have right now, we may be in danger of falling out of the playoffs completely. As it's not likely, but we'll be in this bottom half of the play-in. Did we do this whole season this way to be successful? Have the lead like we did during the game of the season, to fumble it at the end and take an L by the end of the game, just like a game that we've done recently? That's what you got to look at it like, Trevor, is that we're starting the fourth quarter of the season, if it's a game, and we are losing ground. We've lost momentum, and the other team we're playing is beating us all of a sudden. Yeah, I don't want to go out like that for the whole game. I want to win this game that's called the season. And that means getting it out of the mud and playing better in this fourth quarter coming up, which is the last part of the season. So that's the way I look at it. Do we want to make this the same thing? This is what we're doing in games now. This is what we'll do for the season overall. You get what I'm saying right now, right? You understand it? That's what I'm saying, man. I'm riding or dying with them, but we need to light a fire in their ass right now and say, look, you guys need to be accountable. In some ways, Darko's energy after the game isn't pissed off enough. In some ways, he was trying to stay calm. He didn't want to give any fire to the bullshit with DeJounte Murray. And in some ways, he kept saying, I just need to see the tape and see what happened exactly. Well, maybe he saw the tape and maybe it pissed him off. And maybe he read the riot act to the Raptors. Some of y'all have been calling for on Discord a players only meeting, that the Raptors need to circle up and get Garrett Temple and Scotty and Brandon and RJ and Emmanuel and stand in a room and have a players only meeting to look at themselves in the mirror and say, what the fuck are we doing with our season right now? Because they're at this point, Trevor. The signs of life and the signs of what they're doing right now is really bad. If Josh Lewenberg and Doug Smith are going to be writing articles about how the Raptors have lost their heart and soul, and whether they are competing correctly at this point in the season when all the other teams in the NBA are ramping up and trying to go for it, and we are dudding out at this point in the game at the end of the third quarter, the start of the fourth quarter for the season. That's it right there, man. That's it right there. G-San, the Leafs did the same thing last night. A thug took out Matthews, and no one did anything at all. Nothing. What culture is being formed with the MLSE? Nice doesn't win chips. Riding with the team is also showing tough love. Calling them turns into Ben Simmons. I love them, so I will show tough love. Nothing toxic. It's out of care for the team. No, in some ways, the fans, we pay the tickets. We are the economic driver for this whole thing. We do have a say in this. We may not be part owners of the team, but we're shareholders to the success of it because we invest money in going to the games and buying the merchandise and being the lifeblood of what an NBA franchise is. The players the players don't get paid if the fans don't buy shit, right? So there is, in some ways, an obligation to the players, to the fans. And if the fans are saying shit like this or this, they should listen and they should try harder. They get paid a lot of money to do this sport, and they should not be false acting. Like just, I'm taking the check and I'm happy. I don't really give a shit. There's a lot of guys in the league that are doing that, and I don't want them on my team. I don't want them in Toronto. I want people with DeMar DeRozan code that are in the league for the right reasons. So it's like, that's part of this here. That's part of this here. In some ways, we're quality control. And if we see, I'm not unrealistic. I'm not coming at the team like every loss, like nephews and casuals in Raptors Nation. I'm coming at them when it's absolutely necessary. And this is a time right now. This is a time right now. I don't do this all the time. In some ways, I don't want to do this all the time because I want them to just be successful. And I can talk about how they're badasses and how much we love them and how they're amazing. That's what I'd much rather talk about. But when it gets to these kind of points and we seem like we're in a bad place where the team is not doing things or they don't give a shit, then I'm calling it out. And I did the same thing in the last year of Nick Nurse. What the fuck are y'all doing? Do you give a shit about this or not? Are y'all checking out? Do you not care? And I don't want this energy to be anything like that year with Nick Nurse. Yeah, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want us to go to New Orleans and pick up Brandon's Pelicans' bad habits of losing while we're down there at the Smoothie King Arena. I don't want that. I don't want that. Yeah. Yeah. Shaq Lindsay's saying no more excuses or settling for less. We need to hold our players and coaches and front office accountable. We're not mediocre because we're better than that. Believe in Masai. That's right. Some crazy people out there are saying that the reason why we're like this all of a sudden is because Masai's gone. I appreciate that sentiment, but that's not why. That's not why. Some crazy people on Reddit are even saying fire Bobby and try and rehire Masai, kiss his ass and beg him to come back. Oh, Nephew Nation's crazy. Speaking of Reddit, let's go look at the Redditor of the day. It's opening fact 8474. And this is right on point with what we're talking about right here. He said, I don't even think it's about the loss or the shed situation. It's just the apathy of this whole team. It's a weird pattern with this team where they have no passion or drive to win. It's not just the game, it's kind of been like this the whole season. I wouldn't say the whole season. I would say just in the last couple weeks, this has shown up. I think with the Shed thing in particular, I don't think the Murray standing over him was a problem or even none of the guys confronting him. The biggest issue was none of them caring or hustling to pick up Shed. It's okay to want the guys to actually care whenever they play. Nobody's stepping up or saying anything. They're just happy to keep coasting as long as they're getting paid. See, that's the thing. That's the fans' perception right now, Scotty. That's the fans' perception right now. It's like y'all collecting checks, but you don't actually give a shit about actually winning. That's tough, man. They need to fix that. They need to fix that, man. G saying, I think it's deeper. It starts with messaging. Yes, we want higher character guys, but we need toughness too. We need vision, dog, right now. It's kind of like a weird thing. You have a certain roster, you have a certain salary cap, you have a certain amount of spots, and you have to get all these roles. And sometimes it's hard to get each role and get that on your team. And some of the roles you need depth in, like center, you know. I think that these roles are on our team. It's just that these guys need to wake up and do them. If they have to sit in a room and say, who's going to be our designated enforcer, figure that out. Maybe Garrett Temple will be smart. And he'll say, I anoint you, Colin Murray-Boyles, the next enforcer of the Toronto Raptors franchise. Or if there's a guy he's not available, like Colin's not available, when we got to have a depth chart for priority enforcer. Like, oh, this is the guy who's next. Yak, you're the enforcer tonight. Colin's out. Okay, I'll do it. You know, in some ways, like I said, when you're figuring out who your enforcer is or your guy who's going to stand up, like Isaiah Stewart does for the Pistons, you got to think about who's the right person for it because they can't be somebody who's so important like Cade Cunningham, right? They can't be Scotty in some ways because you don't want Scotty getting thrown out of the game for fighting. Isaiah Stewart gets thrown out. That's not a big deal, you know? So you got to think about the sweet spot and who it is. Trace Jackson Davis, maybe he's too young. Maybe that's why you need somebody like a Sadiq Bey on your team that's kind of got an edge to him and physicality, and he's not getting punked by anybody, and he's got years in the league, and he will stand on business. Part of the problem is we have too many young guys on our team that aren't comfortable in being that kind of a role on our team. It's just that they're too young, they're too green, and in some ways they don't have the experience of dealing with it. The guys on our team that do have that experience are not really in that mold. Like Brandon Ingram's not really an enforcer style body, right? We're not going to expect Brandon Ingram to be the enforcer. He's the older player on the team. Garrett Temple's not going to be an enforcer. Jakob Pertl could be the enforcer, but in some ways, his personality is not like that. Like I said, on the down low, Jakob is our secret enforcer. He will get receipts back, but not in an ostentatious way. He's doing it on the secret, on the down low. When he's battling for position under rebounds, he's knocking people around. Trust me. In some ways, he can get receipts on people for us. Still, he will. He has. I've seen him, but he's not going to be a outspoken, brash Isaiah Stewart getting in people's faces and running at them and stuff like that. He's not going to be an instigator. He's not going to be a guy who's going to engage in it because he's a nice guy. And in some ways, that's not his way. But he can be a guy, if the shit hits the fan, and say, yeah, no, I'm a big dude and I'm here. And yeah, I'm standing for this. You know, I don't know. Who's the right person? Is this maybe a role that you need to fill with the last roster spot? Bobby Webster? Maybe Cole Anthony would do this. Maybe he's a badass, even as a little guard, where he's like, I don't give a fuck, man. My dad played in this league. And in some ways, I have a chip on my shoulder. And in some ways, I'm going all out for the Raptors because this is my last chance. And I want to stick with this team. And I like this team. I like Scotty. And I'll come out there. Yeah, I'm crazy. I'll be that dog. I'll get out there and yell at people and get in people's faces. Cole Anthony, you want to do that? I'll sign you up right now. You can come and be a Raptor right now. If you can do that and you can fill that bench, veteran, scoring, edge, three-point shooting kind of guy, scorer guy, hell, if you can be a one-size-fits-all, get all the things that we need on our checklist, I'll sign you tomorrow. Bobby Webster, go get Cole Anthony if he's willing to be the enforcer of the Raptors also. In some ways, he's crazy enough to do it. Seriously, I've seen Cole Anthony the way he moves on that court. Seriously, in some ways, it's like that, man. Shaq Lindsay's saying this. Exception of RJ, CMB, IQ, and Scotty, no one is safe. As a fan, I'm okay with that. Yeah, yeah. I'm saying this. This is part of what a GM's job is to assess the talent. And if the talent ain't hitting and the talent ain't doing right, people can be moved. People can be gone. And I like your list. I'm with you on your list. Those are the four guys I covet the most too right now. And Jacoby maybe too. And Shed also. Those guys, yeah, and Jakob too. I put Jakob on that list. Other guys on the team, they can go if they have to. Seriously, if they can go. I don't even value Mamu to overpay for him this summer that much. I know a lot of people are saying we have to keep Mamu. We have to keep Mamu. We have to keep Mamu. But maybe there's another big that we can get for $2 million that's a steal, and he can have the same kind of value as Mamu had for us this year. And Mamu can go get paid $10 million by the Charlotte Hornets or something, because that's what I think is going to probably happen. I'd love that Mamu back, but the price has got to be right. And his price is going to soar this summer. Yeah. Shaq Lindsay saying time heals all wounds, but it also reveals them. Bobby has given the roster some time to develop, but the holes are evident. At the end of the season, Bobby will make the necessary decisions. I'm okay. Yeah. As fans, we need to stop having emotional attachment to players with the exception of RJ and maybe Scotty. And just want growth and development. If our team or a player isn't doing this, then we move on from them. We just have to accept it. Yeah. I mean, that's something that Raptor freaks have gone on about, not having connections to players because it hurts if people get traded or they have to leave. I get that. In some ways, there's a balance to that. In some ways, you got to look at everything, even in your own life. We'll get into a life lesson here that, relationships have expiration dates. Not everybody in your life is supposed to be happily ever after till the end of time. A person in your life as a friend, there's friends that are just for a season. And in some ways, we should, as fans, look at it this way too. It's like I love Ochai Agbaji. I think Ochai Agbaji was a fantastic Raptor. I really appreciate the time he spent on the Raptors, developing and doing things to help us win, and all the things that he did. But his time was up, and it was time for him to move on. Do we feel bad about that? In some ways, but also at the same time, you can look at it and just understand this is the business. He'll always be a Raptor. We won't take away any of the time that he was with us and the things that he did to help us and the things that he did to help himself in his career. We can just look at it as that's it. We do the same thing with Boucher. He had a great long run with the Raptors, a longer than average run with our franchise. And he's absolutely this. And it's sad when guys leave, but it's just like that in your life. You need to think about it that way. You may have a friend and they're not your friend for your whole life, and things change and things have expiration dates. And I think that's the way to look at it better. It's good to have love and feel personal connections to the players, and that's fine. But also, it's a business, and that's the best way to deal with it is understand there is an expiration date on everything and everybody. Nobody's invulnerable and gonna live forever. So things are meant to end. Things are meant to fall apart. Things are meant to disintegrate as time goes on. Everything does. Mountains erode. Rivers change stream. Things change is just inevitable. And in some ways, part of the problem is people like having things set in and they can't have a hard time saying goodbye because it's changing and times are changing. And it's not going to be the same when Oshai's gone or Chris is gone. It's kind of like that. Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying, I wish all success for our players, but as a fan of this team, I'm not going to accept mediocrity. This is probably why Rodgers isn't happy that a lot of people are not revving up on their season passes. They also raised the price. It's interesting. They're really, really promoting this Raptors fan day next week on Monday. They want it to be known. They want to fill the whole arena. In the past, the Raptors fan day would be like maybe they're lucky if they get half of the lower bowl filled. But the way Pelly and Rodgers are pushing the Raptors fan day on Monday, they want to fill the whole arena and sell it out like a Raptors game. That's interesting. But once again, that shows you exactly what their motivations are. Is that, and that's what matters. The problem with MLSE for many years with the Leafs is, well, they only care about the money. They don't care about actually winning the Stanley Cup. As long as the fans are buying the tickets and the merchandise and showing up, then we don't really care about whether the Leafs are above the ability to get past the first round against a Florida team. They don't care about that. In some ways, that's the thing that's a worrisome thing in the pattern of the history of the Leafs and sometimes with the Jays in the last 15 years. You know, the Jays have been invested in and they got the World Series last year and they are on the right path and have a lot of good things going. That's what we want. We want more of that for the Raptors too. But there are always the worries that the owners and the management only care about this, the bottom line, and they don't give a shit about actually winning. And that's something we've got to worry about, Shaq Lindsay, for the Raptors. And I hope that we can do the right thing. Some ways the X factor in this is Bobby and being a genius and using the resources that Rogers and Pelly give him to make the best absolute competitive team that has the best success for the Raptors. So he has to be ingenious. He has to be creative. And he has to think a little bit different than all the rest of the GMs in the league and see stuff that they see. Yeah, he sees, you know. Reggie's saying this: Darko was brought in to bring out the best in Scotty Barnes. It's also on him to motivate this team. The rest of the season will be telling. Suns playing good. Tonight will be very hard. Yeah. It's not like these games. Some of that game on Wednesday was the easy game in some ways, and y'all flopped. You know, there's been games this year that you've lost, but most of the games against the bad teams, you've taken care of business and done it right, but not on Wednesday. Today, I don't know what the Suns are. Are the Suns a good team or are they a bad team? I don't know. Let's see what they are tonight. But I know the Raptors need to be a better team than they've been, and they need to find a way to win. I think that this matchup is good for the Raptors because we may have some advantages over them, and we may be very pleasantly surprised with how the Raptors perform tonight. In some ways, the things that Shaq Lindsay and Smooth Brown Man are saying today in this chat, we want to see the Raptors come out and look like they give a shit. They have an energy, they have a professionalism, and they have success as far as, you know, hitting shots, going all out for loose balls, doing all the things that are signs to the fans in the city of Toronto and the country of Canada that we are trying our ass off and we do care. Because there's probably nothing more frustrating to a team that is busting their ass and kicking butt, but they're not finding success and everybody thinks they're being lazy. So come and prove it to us, guys. Prove it to us with what you do on the court tonight and trying to get the best chance to get the W over the Phoenix Suns. That's it right there. That's the easiest solution right there is rededicate, take the open slate, the new slate of a brand new 48 minutes against another NBA team and put your work into it and get the right result. And that'll make a whole lot of things easier in Raptors Nation with the fans and the perception of whether you guys are soft or not giving a shit about whether you win or not. Go tonight and prove it to us. That's why I'm saying all the things I'm saying this morning. If there's people in the Raptors organization that do listen to me, whether it's a coach, a scout, a player, any of y'all, this is what I'm trying to say is prove to us that you give a shit. That's all we want. That's the basics. And y'all, you know, I don't want y'all to lose, but if you did lose and it was a close game and y'all played your asses off and I could tell you did that, I would stand up for y'all tomorrow morning, even though you lost. I just want to see the effort. I just want to see the passion. I just want to see you stand on business. That's what I want to see, man. That's what I want to see. Fiercey's here. Good morning, fam, and happy game day. Let's lock in later and get the dub. Yeah, Fiercey and I are in a battle in our fantasy, Yahoo Fantasy NBA League, and I've got a good lead on her now. It's about over 100, and this is tough because this is Fiercey fighting again in the playoffs, and I kind of feel bad. In some ways, I was like, man, should you be nice and just like help Fiercey? And I'm like, no, I can't do that. I have to play the way I played all season long. It's not fair to her or Kaz if I rolled over and just let Fiercey beat me this week. So, yeah, it's a tough matchup right now. And Fiercey, you got some work to do in the last 3 days of this weekend to try and beat me. Yeah, let's see. Neil's here with his alien. This is a weird. Fiercey saying last 905 game, they showed a list of former NBA first-round picks who made an impact in the G League, and they mentioned Fultz wasn't there. Yeah, they were just showing that because of Fultz. That was not a complete list either. And that list was full of a lot of jabronis, honestly. It was full of a lot of jabronis. Yeah, it was a weird list. Neil saying Tyson is the heart of Bose. Bose? Tyson? Tyson is the heart of Bosey. Tyson Degenhart? What's going on here? Mike Tyson? I like Cold Stone too. Yeah, I like Cold Stone. I'm with Cold Stone. Cold Stone Carawell. You're Wow, 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 wow. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Wow. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Wow. Yeah, I'll never forget that moment of Mike Tyson at WWF saying, I like Cold Stone. Cold Stone's my guy. You just called him Cold Stone like he's a creamery. His name's Stone Cold, not Cold Stone. Cold Stone. Cold Stone. I like Cold Stone. People that know. They'll laugh with me on that one. All right, let's see. Fiercely saying, respect to Siakam. It's also the love of the game, Lex. Whenever I witness a competitive matchup, no matter what the level, school, league, team, CBL, FIBA, NBA, etc., I enjoy watching. I'm with you on this. Fiercely, I'm going to give you a dunk for sharing your passion just for competitive basketball at whatever level. I know Fiercey travels with her daughter, Fiercey Jr., for all kinds of competitive games for her. And like she can get that kind of joy in watching her daughter's games from NBA games too. You know what I'm saying? She just want to see a level compete. You know, that's why I've been really enjoying going to CBL games in the summer because, you know, it's not NBA level, but it's really good professional basketball. And there is all the great stuff like dunks and buzzer beaters, and there is high skill level. And you will see, you know, it's better basketball than watching some guys at the end of Bathurst at that court near the airport, Billy Bishop, just running up and down the court. No, this is organized basketball. This is professional basketball, the Canadian Elite Basketball League. And I had to remind the announcers for the Westchester Knicks this yesterday. They were saying Quincy Guerrier plays in Summer League in Canada. And I'm like, that's not Summer League, bro. That is a professional league, the Canadian Elite Basketball League. And it is its talent is pretty much the same level as G League. It is not that far away from G League talent in the CBL because they are basically the same players. A lot of the players that play in the G League during the NBA season go and play in the Canadian Elite Basketball League in the summer. So it's a very high premium level of basketball. And this summer, I hope people will go to CBL games in your city across Canada because it's a fantastic product. And this is what we're talking about. Fiercely has a passion for basketball and competitive basketball and just watching the game. And I love that about her. 39 dunks for her. That's right. That's right. Neil saying SGA gets 20 or 30 and opposing coaches cry over his free throws. The jealousy is real. Listen, you know we stand with SGA. I'm not with the foul merchant people that talk all this bullshit about him baiting fouls and getting enhanced from that. No, I'm not with that. You know, as a Canadian and one of our best players on Team Canada, we stand with SGA. And I don't take the SGA slander. No. And I don't believe it either. That man is exactly who he is and what he's doing. And there's no fraud in what he does. Let's just put it that way. Fiercely saying, not a Miami Heat, but I respect Bam's 83. Shame on Laker Nation and the media podcasters belittling his accomplishment. Yeah, it's haters. It's an insecurity. It's Laker Nation being all insecure. In some ways, they have to make their shit not smell, but they want to make other people look down on things that they did and stuff like that. No, in some ways, it's like bullshit. And in some ways, it's a great example of it out in the open for us to see just how much bullshit this is. Bam Adebayo's accomplishment is fantastic. It's just that Lakers Nation has to take third place instead of second now, and they're upset about that. And they're acting out, and they're belittling the accomplishment of Adebayo. That's what it is right there. You can see it. You can see it. Isaac's saying this, man, I just want spring to come so I can play some ball outside. Come on, Wither. So that's the thing. Maybe the competitive basketball that we can watch is on Isaac Campbell's driveway with him and his kids. Yeah, I'll be sitting there. I'll be doing the chants just like I would at a Raptors game. Defense, Isaac. Defense. Defense, Isaac. Defense. Let's go, Isaac's kids. Let's go, Isaac's kids. That would be fun, man. But yeah, spring is springing, and the snow is disappearing faster and faster in my yard. Although it does look like it's snowing right now. There's like a very light flurry falling on the ground right now. So it's right around just below zero right now. Keep melting. I want more melt days. Come on now. Kaloy saying this. I played basketball all the days that were warm this week. That's good stuff. there is a YMCA. There are indoor gyms. You guys can go play somewhere else, right? You don't have to wait for the weather. Go inside. Randolph Phillips is here. Good morning to Randolph and his words of wisdom. Game day blessings, beloved Raptors Freaks family. Each day is a gift. Each day you live has purpose. Each day's task must not be left undone because tomorrow's energy is for tomorrow's demands. Yeah, I'm a manifest generator. And human design, that's a type. And that's a person that reacts, a person that can do things in the moment, that has the answer right away. In some ways, that's what I do on my channel is y'all write me a comment and I use my manifest generator energy to give you guys an answer instantly. Unlike a lot of other YouTube channels that do live streams, there's a lot of pausing and fumbling around and like, oh, what do I do here? You watch Professor Rock and other top YouTubers that have millions of followers. They can't do live streams like me. Bo of the Fifth Column tried to do live streams before he took off because he saw MAGA World was coming and he knew he'd be in trouble. He got scared. That's actually what happened. I figured this out with Bo at this point. He realized that the politics in the United States were going very dark and that people like him may be in danger. So he took off before. It's kind of cowardly what Bo did, honestly. It's kind of cowardly. If I'm misinterpreting what happened because it's actually something very serious and something else happened, I apologize. But in some ways, it's like that. But being a live streamer and doing this on live and not having pauses and big breaks for reading and comprehension, stuff like that's my manifest generator ability. But the problem is, I can try and plan for the future. I can try and be doing things for the future, but my talent is in the now. Everything I do and I excel at is doing it in the moment and making the right decision in the split second. So it's tough, man. I like to try and be planning ahead and building for the future, but I'm Mr. Present. I'm Mr. Now. And my strength is getting it done in the moment right then and doing it right then and having the right answers right then. So it's tough. But yeah, I mean, every day is a gift. Get out there and find the meaning for your day and do something worthwhile and positive for the human race and moving in the right direction and all kinds of things. Maybe I should do my prayer right now, guys, since Randolph has done his blessings. Let me do my prayer real quick for the game tonight, just real fast. Dear God, glory to God above. Thank you so much for all that you do, all the blessings bestowed to me on my life, as far as food on the table, roof over my head, clothes on my back, friends and family in this channel, in my life, socially, and also just all the goodness that you've created in this world. I believe that is more powerful than the evil out there. And what I would like to ask of you today is to please protect the Toronto Raptors and the Phoenix Suns, all the teams in the NBA, all the teams in the G League, all the teams in athletics around the world and whatever they're competing, all the citizens of all countries and nations in all situations, protection from injury, from harm, from the powers that would subjugate them to ecocide, genocide, and the powers of just worrying about money and screwing people over in humanity and nature just for their own selfish gain. I know at blind faith that you're going to make everything work out the exact way that it's supposed to, in the way that is intended. And I have so much faith in the power of God and the power of it to change lives, and that love and light will defeat the darkness of this totalitarian world that is evolving right now in front of us. Thank you so much once again. I'll humbly ask as a servant of you with no ego. Thank you once again for all the blessings, and I serve you to the glory of the God. Amen. Blessings to the Phillips family and all the Raptor Freak families. That's the prayer I do every day on game day, right there. And that's the way I say it. I should probably start saying, "Dear God, please make the Raptors win." I should probably start saying that. I mean, at least right now, the way it seems like right now. But I don't want to overstep. I've always looked at it this way. If the Raptors are going to win, they're going to win on their own merits. And they don't need God to help them. They need to do it on their own and make it happen for themselves, right? Right? Mr. Quasimodo's here. Good morning, Mr. Quasimodo. It's always a joy to see you in the chat, man. I think this game, we can't have BI be a finisher like how we tried to use him these past games. I'm completely on this. I'm completely with Mr. Quasimodo on this. I just want to see something different. Let's not be Dwayne Casey with Lou Williams that one year he won the sixth man, where everybody knew Sweet Lou was going to be taking the shot at the end of the game for the Raptors the year that Lou Williams won the Sixth Man of the Year for the Raptors. In some ways, DeRozan and Lowry admitted they were feeding Lewis Williams to get that award. They had seen that he'd never won the Sixth Man of the Year, and they thought it was travesty. So Kyle Lowry very pointedly set up Lewis Williams to make a really good season as a six man and to have more steam to get the award from the NBA. So Kyle Lowry did a solid for him. Not only was trying to get bags for all of his teammates to get more pay, he's also trying to get his teammate an accolade, and he did. But the sacrifice that was every game that year, the other team knew we were getting the ball in the hand of Sweet Lou, and it was so predictable. That year was so predictable for the last call of the game and who's taking the last shot. The crazy thing is, Lou Williams, it's like they're inverses. Lou Will was actually successful, even though the team knew that exactly was where we were going. He could still figure out a way to do it and get it done, even though they knew it, man. But yeah, too predictable. I think that Quasimodo is exactly right. BI is kind of played out right now. And especially if he's ineffective, and as he put it, he's playing terrible. Why are we calling his number 3 at the end of the game to finish the game? This doesn't make any sense. Mr. Quasimodo, you're exactly on point. Yeah, Kaloy saying, hey, Lex, can we question Darko? Why Scotty mostly camps out in the corner? This is something I've been seeing around Raptors Reddit and social media lately, that they're asking why, if Scotty is such an important player to us, why is he hiding in the corner all the time on offense and just kind of hanging out over there? Well, there is a role on the offensive systems for the corner shooter outlet, and that would be the emergency valve. You know, Grady could be there sometimes. Jameson could be there sometimes, even RJ. You know, that it's just kind of a role that everybody kind of gets in that spot from time to time. I'll bet you Scotty wants to be in that spot because in some ways he does really love shooting threes. And his 3-point shot has been fantastic this year. When he's set and he's got his rhythm and his thumbs aren't messed up, his shot is a swish. So it's partly the play set and why he gets spot in there. Now, some people have seen it too much and they're thinking he's always there, but that's not true. He's not always there. But he is there sometimes. That's true. But he's not always there. I mean, the difference is instead of having him off ball to catch a pass for a dump out from a drive into the paint for a 3-point shot in the corner, is to have him be the guy driving through the paint, doing it to dish it to Battle or Dick over there or Walter. And in some ways, I like that better. But the other thing about it is when you put him in the corner like that, it's kind of like rest on the court and keeping him on the court without having to take him out of the game. There can be times where you're not a very prominent player in the offense because you've been going at it a couple of times down the court and you need a rest possession and not be a focal point of the offense and touching the ball. And that's sometimes what that is too. If this guy's going to take long extended periods of time on the court and run, there may be times where they're putting him in that spot because they're resting him while he's on the court. And he's not doing as much in the play set. Does that make sense? Because he may be expending a lot of energy on the defensive end and help defense and blocking shots and things like that. Isaac saying, dunk for Kaloy. My outdoor court is overrun by hockey boards and snow. Well, you're supposed to play the game of the season, right? So get your hockey gear on and get out there. All right, we'll give a dunk to Kaloy for that. You know what? I'm going to give a dunk to Isaac too. Why not? We're going to give a dunk to Isaac for being so generous. Colin Murray-Boyles 12 for Kaloy. And we're going to give Isaac for wanting to get he's Basketball Jones and to get out there and start playing again. He's going to Heinz 57. Heinz 57, the ketchup. All right, let's see. Kespra is here. Good to see Kespra, the fact checker. Good to see you, my guy. This team needs to show that they're not just blindly following the NBA media business direction of burying us 6 feet under. If these guys don't show some fight soon, it's going to be a rough landing. This is what they want. They're trying to write the script. The media writers have been writing it on the download the whole year by not keeping us as a serious consideration as a contender in the East. They're going to try and act like they knew what they're talking about all along and the demise of the Raptors over the end of the season. They're going to try and act like that. That's why I want the Raptors to write their own narrative. That's what Kespra is saying here, is these guys need to stand up and say, all right, the NBA wants y'all to lose. The NBA wants y'all to not be a playoff team straight up. They want you to be a play-in team. Well, you can have some choice in this. That's up to you guys. It's not up to them. It's up to you guys and how you play and the results you get on the court. Sure, there may be ref manipulations and hit jobs. Sure, the schedule may be really weirdly balanced with a lot of games crammed into the last part of March, and it's going to be very taxing on your energy and tiring. Sure, the other teams in the league may be gearing up and they be really running smooth and tougher to play at this point in the season than earlier in the year, as Darko said. That doesn't mean y'all shouldn't try and strive and achieve and go against their narrative that they're trying to write. I want y'all to make them look bad. And that's what Kespra's saying too. And in some ways, y'all have more power over this than y'all are taking advantage of, is what I'm saying. Yeah, Mr. Quasimodo is saying they say his play style is outdated. I don't know too much to know what that means. Brandon's play style is outdated. I mean, there's truth to that. I mean, I think we're the wave of the future, and that's a passing offense that's more Euro style. And Darko's offense is sustainable for the future because it is going to be more and more of a team game going forward. And in some ways, Brandon Ingram is like the isolation, selfish 2010s style of LeBron and Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, that era. We're in a new era. We've moved into it in the last 2 or 3 years in the NBA on the down low. And the Raptors have been shaping it to a degree themselves as far as the style that Darko's doing what he's doing. So that's probably what they mean is that Brandon is still a throwback isolation style player from 2010s. That's what they mean right there. Kesser's saying can't just be folding on the good teams and just collecting the chump change, tanking teams wins. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they didn't even do that in the last game. They finally fumbled another game below 500 team. And that's a bad sign. That's the wrong direction we're showing. We're struggling against beating the best teams, and now all of a sudden we lose to a bad team. That's a canary in the coal mine. That's a raise the alarm. That's a we need to look in the mirror. That's a maybe we need a team players only meeting. Yeah. Yeah. That's all that kind of stuff is where you're getting to with this kind of stuff. And if they lose tonight, they will probably I would say you guys need a players only meeting. Y'all need to go and talk some hard talk amongst yourselves about what you're doing with your season and what you expect and what you want for the rest of the season. Seriously, y'all need to do this talk. Seriously, that's what I'm saying. Quasimodo's saying quick rotations, please, Darko. Yeah. I don't think that we're playing with a style of excellence to the level where we can do the short playoff type rotations that Boston and New York are doing right now. It's just not right, Darko. In some ways, our strength is youth and energy. And if our guys are worn out and you're going to only play 8 guys for the game, I don't think that's the right decision right now. I think that you should be still doing a 10-man rotation. And it's honestly, I don't like how you're balancing out the minutes with the starters and the bench. One of the reasons why the bench is not scoring so much for us is because you're playing all 5 of the starters 35 plus minutes a game. And there's not a whole lot of time for the bench to get out there and get productive. So balance this a little bit more. You know, we're not making a playoff stretch run in the right way right now. So obviously it's not working. So revert back to what's working and use depth and energy. And maybe we'll be able to run some of the short rotation teams off the court that way and steal some wins. So I don't agree with the shortened rotation right now. We're not playing good enough to deserve to do that. In some ways, that's a right to play with a short rotation because your team is so excellent, you can do it. Our team is not excellent right now, Darko. And in some ways, you are searching for answers. That means play 10 guys and let some guys that are off the bench, if they're going crazy, let them have a bigger slice of the pie. If Jamison Battle all of a sudden is going great in the first half of the game tonight, you should play him close to 30 minutes in this game, is what I'm saying, Darko. Is you should these are the kind of changes and adoptions and adjustments that you should be making so that you're not getting in a category like Dwayne Casey. Okay? Because we need you to read the game and adjust to the specific snowflake pattern of that game for that night. And you can't have the game plan in the morning exactly right because you have to discover what the game's going to be and how the developments in the game happen from mismatches, the way that they're reffing, the way that things go in the game, things change. And you have to be on your feet. And in some ways, you can have a idea of your rotations for the morning because you do tell people when they're playing or not, but you need to be able to rip that up on the fly if it makes more sense to go in another direction. That may be maybe playing Grady or Jamison more and getting more offense out of them that way. because you can't get offense out of Jamison Battle and Grady Dick if you ain't going to play them hardly. You ain't going to give them shot attempts. You're going to give Jamison one shot attempt against New Orleans? Well, that's a fail. That's a fail in a way. That's a fail. Kessler was saying mathematically, we can't be top 6 if we just take wins only from bottom feeders. I know. We have to strive and achieve and go above and beyond. We missed one of the games that we were supposed to win, and now we have to make up for it by beating one of the best teams. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Kaloy saying, I need to see some more adjustments from Darko too. I'm starting to feel some Rudy Gay vibes from BI too. They need to figure it out. We don't want any Rudy Gay vibes around our team in the least, in any kind of way. In any kind of way. That's right. I lost my place. Let me find it for a second here. Let's see. Kesper is saying, worst off, the play-in is like the prison slammer that's ready to unleash the prisoners we thought we put behind us, Hornets and Sixers. Do we really want to see those teams again who have our number? That's what I'm saying. A straight-up playoff spot is what I want. And, all right, there's some people in Raptors Nation that are saying we just need to lower expectations, just let them be who they are. And to agree, I agree with them. Overreacting and saying championship or bust or why aren't they winning every single game is totally unrealistic and nephew kind of stuff. But also at the same time, I predicted them at the beginning of the year that they're going to be a top 4 team in the East, and they were for a while, but they're falling off in the course of the season for various reasons. And now it's like, I want to at least save grace. It's kind of like at the end of the game where you're going to lose, but you want it to be less than 10 points instead of like 20 points. I don't want to lose by 20. Let's get the lead under single digits. Like in some ways, there's a little bit of that energy right now. In some ways, we're maybe not going to get a straight up playoff spot. So let's at least consider and try and stay in the top part of the play-in. Or can we still sneak in and get that last playoff spot, the 6th spot? We can. Statistically, we can. So it's like you temper your expectations and you change them as things go, but you're still trying to achieve higher than where you are right now. And that's stealing one of those spots back from one of the Florida teams and getting back in the 5th or the 6th spot. It's right there. That's right. That's right. Kaloy saying it's reported that we have an illness going around the team. Yep. And Scotty's got it right now. Ingram's had it this week, and so has Pirtle. Pirtle has had the same sickness. So all 3 of those guys. Yeah, it's just the changing of the seasons. It's hot, it's cold. You get into that little flu season, winter to spring kind of time. It happens. Trevor's saying players need to show up tonight and win no matter what. Play hard, play smart, and win. Win is going to come. That's what I want to. If you guys give a good, strong effort, just like that one game where y'all had no sleep and y'all lost and you look really bad, but I stood up for you the next day because I saw through it all and understood that what was going on with you guys on a back-to-back with travel and a plane late at 3 a.m. and you got into New York late and you just absolutely crapped the bed against, I forget who it was. It was the Nets, I think. It was dismal and everybody's upset because we lost the Brooklyn Nets. But I saw that it was because of a plane delay and you guys were absolutely tired and I stood up for you. As long as you're trying your ass off. That's all I care about. If you guys come off like you did in New Orleans, then I'm going to be like, yeah, this team's fucked up. There's something wrong with it right now. There's something wrong with it. Randolph saying, Lex, BI is my guy. He's playing hurt like Barnes and a few of the guys. I blame the coach for not using the healthy guys, win or lose. I mean, that's one way of looking at it. It's just that in some ways, look, if the coach doesn't say it, there's been players that have said, I don't have it. Go ahead and give it to somebody else. Draymond said this on the Unguarded podcast with Fred this week. Everybody keeps saying I'm washed and I'm so bad. Do you guys not realize I'm telling the coach not to play me right now? That's true. Draymond's telling Steve Kerr to bench him often this season because he feels like they have a better chance with the younger guys. So he's going ahead and sacrificing himself. He's saying, I'm not as good as these guys. I'm going to hurt the team and they're not going to do as well. I know I'm not as good. I want to sit, Steve, so you can bench me. And fans will reinterpret it as, wow, Draymond's washed. He's not playing hardly at all. He's out of the rotation. No, Draymond's actually requesting and telling Steve to take him out and play other players instead of him because he doesn't feel like he's good enough to do better than the other players. Well, in some ways, Brandon needs to take accountability for this and say, Coach, I don't have it tonight. And, maybe you shouldn't give me the ball so much. He should be personally himself in touch with himself the best. to understand where he's at. Or is his ego just like, I don't care. I'm just going to keep shooting no matter what. And it doesn't matter if I'm sick or my thumb's hurt and I'm not my ultimate best, as long as I keep getting those shots and those minutes. I don't know. What's his attitude? Is he for the team winning? Is he willing to make a sacrifice like Draymond Green and say, don't call my number this game? I don't have it, coach. In some cases, this is important on a basketball team for a player to be selfless and say, don't call me right now. I'm telling you to go another direction. So in some ways, I can paint it as like Brandon needs to maybe tell coach, I don't have it. Don't give me the ball. Give it to Scotty. You know, there that has happened in basketball, right? That does. All right, we got gaming with Alex and Drew. 6656 is back this morning. Good to see you back again. Thanks for the sub, of course. How can Darko pump Barnes's tires, calling him a future MVP and everything, but play him in the corner and play in and play out, and limiting him sometimes to below 14 shots? And once again, and this is something we've talked about a lot in the years of Scotty being on our team. It's not Darko necessarily. This is Scotty, man. This is Scotty. Scotty's shying away from being the prominent offensive player. If he wanted to be, Darko would be like, yeah, let's do this. But in some ways, Scotty's mental makeup is so selfless that he can't be a true alpha on the court and just be dominant and do this. He's getting in his own way. In some ways, there may be a mental block in his head as far as like how he sees himself and his personality and being so huggy and friendly and so doting for everybody else, that's disconnect from him fulfilling his full potential individually as himself selfishly. This is the phenomena of this. You're going to talk about how many shots Scotty took. That's his fault because he's not aggressive to call for the ball and go do it himself. I'm sure Darko would love Scotty to step up and say, I want the ball more. I want the ball in the fourth quarter. I want to take us home and take this win. He's not doing this. That is not in his mentality. That is not his player build. That is not his human design. That's part of why. I want Darko to do this, and I'm sure Darko's talked to him about this, increasing his role and stuff like that. But Scotty's holding himself back. In some ways, he could be like Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant and say, I want the fucking ball more. I'm the man. I'm going to go do this. He could do that tomorrow. He could do that tonight. If he told them, he showed up at Scotiabank Arena tonight and said, tonight I'm doing it, guys. I'm finally doing it. Darko would say, yes, finally. You're going to go and fucking be aggressive and call for the ball and ask for the ball and demand the ball and take the ball and put the ball through the hoop. It's up to Scott. You can say it's Darko's fault, but it's not, man. Scotty's mentality holds him back, and it's his unselfishness that's getting in the way. It's the point where Scotty's unselfishness is selfish, as ironic as that is. I've said this on this channel a few times over the last few years. Scotty is too unselfish that it's a detriment. It's an insane thing. Most of the time, people are so selfish, they need to be more unselfish, right? This is a situation where this guy is so unselfish, he needs to start being selfish. So that's what it is right there, really, gaming with Alex and Drew. It's on Scott, and he's showing more and more pushes to this. But once again, he's on his own schedule, and the increments of growth to this are not matching the expectations of the Raptors fans and how they want to take over games and win, because Scotty's growing at his own pace. And it's happening. It is happening, and it's coming more and more towards us, but it's not totally there yet. It could be there next year, though. Maybe something clicks with him in the last 24 hours because of what happened in New Orleans, and all of a sudden we see it tonight. I don't know. I want it. I want it. It's similar to like what we were calling out with Siakam for a few years when he was our main scorer. Is Siakam, go and take over, be the man, win it. He couldn't do it exactly right? Remember, he didn't have that alpha kind of mentality at the end of the game to just take it over and win games for us. But did he develop it more? And now does he show up more on Pacers? Yes. So it's like it's a work in progress for the whole player's career. And Scotty should become more of a killer instinct alpha player that takes over games and wins games for us and takes more shots. Yes, I agree. But don't blame Darko. Blame Scotty, because in some ways it's his choice to be deferring to everybody else. If he wanted to be, you don't think that the Raptors and Bobby Webster and Darko would love to hear Scotty say, yeah, I'm ready to be the alpha and take over and do everything. He doesn't want to do that necessarily. It's not his personality. It's evident by his year in FSU. He didn't even start. He was off the bench. And all he does is he's trying to help everybody else be better. That's the problem right there. He needs to be more selfish. He's unselfish to a fault. That's right. It's effort and urgency. We need that tonight. That's for sure. Kareem Thomas is back in the chat. A great, great legend of the Raptor Freak family. A three-time dunk champion. I think he might even be a four-time dunk champion. I'm not totally sure. He's a three-time dunk champion. Let's see what he's saying. When all the horses leave the ranch, the donkey then thinks it's a unicorn. It's not related to anything. I just thought that shit was funny. This is like Kareem's words of wisdom. Blessings to the Thomas family and this nonsense right here. I like this, man. I kind of like this, though. This I can relate this. You want me to try and tie this into what's going on right now? Either way, I'm going to give you a dunk for this nonsense about horses and donkeys and unicorns. Whatever you're trying to say there, I'm digging it, and I'm with it. You got that Eddie Murphy 48 hours. Y'all be cool. All right? Nick Nolte, don't be trying to break into the Velvet Underground at 3 a.m. in the morning because you're on meth, because you're doing research for a role you're doing, Nick Nolte. That's a true story. I was at work one night at the club at Velvet Underground, downtown Toronto, Queen West. I used to work there, and this is like 25 years ago. And Nick Nolte came banging on our door at 3 a.m. trying to barge into the bar after we were closed to drink. He wanted to keep drinking. And my boss, who was upstairs, the owner of the bar, the doorman did not let him in. And then they went up and told the boss, Pat, and they said, Nick Nolte's outside. He's trying to come in and drink. It's 3 a.m. We're closed. Why don't you let him in? It's Nick Nolte, man. Come on. That's what Pat said. I was like, he wanted Nick Nolte to come in. He was mad at them for telling him he couldn't come in. He was already gone. It's so stupid. My Nick Nolte comment. All right, there you go. All right, let's keep going. Kareem's saying one way to defeat the Suns is to get the snow outside and throw snowballs at it. Okay, not serious, but I love it. It's great stuff. Be blessed, y'all. 19 days left for Lent, but I can't help but not check in with fam. So you're still in the middle of this. So you broke Lent to come in here and make corny comments. You're awesome, man. I didn't realize it was this long, bro. All right, we'll see you in April, I guess, is what you're saying. We'll see you in April. All right, man. Good to see you, KT. You got to dunk. You got to dunk. Shaq Lindsay's saying this. Life has a funny way of working things out, and it also has a funny way of turning things around and showing our flaws. B.I. and Scotty will be on their backs one day. Let's see how has their backs get stood up for. Yeah, like Shed. Yeah. Yeah. Like, what if that happens to you, Scotty? What if DeJounte Murray came and glowered over you and did that to you? Wouldn't you want your teammates to do something for you? That's what we're saying right here. That's right. Isaac's saying dunk at Kareem for existence, presence, and message retractions. All right. Yeah, we can do that. All right, we'll do it. You're just feeding him to get hired closer to you. 51 for Kareem Thomas on the dunk charts. 51. Yeah, you get 3-pointer each dunk. All right, let's see. Kessler is saying, I wouldn't put the Pelicans in that tanking category, though. They don't have a pick, and although it seems like a long shot, they're trying to make the play-in or at least making it about next season. I think you're right. Their record and where they aren't – this is kind of similar to the Suns. You know, the Suns were really good early in the season, up near the top of the West, but they've fallen and had a bad middle part, but they're surging up again now and currently on a 4-game win streak and winning 6 of their last 7 games. So they're winning right now. And that was a similar pattern for the Pelicans when we played them the other night. And that's why these teams are dangerous right now. And we're happening to catch them at parts of the season that it's not as good to catch them. I'd much rather catch the Pelicans when they're losing like crazy in a mess. I'd much rather play the Suns when they're not won 6 out of 7 games in the last 7 games. You know, that's something that's true. And I think that you're exactly right, Kesper. The New Orleans Pelicans aren't like the other non-playoff teams. They have very good talent. They've been just not organized, and they haven't done well for their record, but they're very dangerous. And they were on Wednesday. Yeah, I think that's exactly right. They're not exactly like the other non-playoff teams. This is exactly true. Kareem saying Nick Nurse's rotations were mostly based off of matchups. I feel like Darko's is based on minutes sometimes. That's true. I think that that's actually true, that he does base a lot of stuff on minutes. And Pat Delaney's walking over and telling him, okay, you got to keep on this with this schedule with the minutes for this guy and this guy. In some ways, I don't like that framework. I did this when I was a coach back in the day, and it totally failed. It was so stupid. I shouldn't have done it. I designated everybody knew their minutes before the game started, and I had to stick hard and fast to it. But it was such a confining framework that it really didn't help us win. It kind of got in the way of us winning because it's like, oh, Alfred's got to get the rest of his time, Lex. You got to put Alfred in. But Brian's the one who's playing good. It's like, you want me to put Alfred back in? Yeah, it's his time, bro. It's the way that you did the schedule. Oh, shit. That's not a good idea to do that. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. It's like if you see Battle hit his first 2 shots, play that man 30 minutes. Seriously. Like, go to that well. Take the horse to the water. Seriously, man. That's what I'm saying right there. Yeah. Yeah. Crest was saying, still doesn't mean we take the L lightly, though. No, I agree. In some ways, this is informing nephews to maybe like not look at the Pelicans as being like one of the absolute horrible teams in the league, because on the escalator towards Larry Bryan, they're not at the very bottom. They're kind of like maybe a third up is kind of what I would say, is somewhere around there. Let's see. Kareem saying there's no butt dial in this. Is this really me? I don't know. You have a very talented gluteus maximus if it's able to type coherent words and letters into a message like you did, especially that eloquent words of wisdom you did there, that psychedelic Salvador Dali words of wisdom that you had there. Yeah. Pink Floyd inspired Sid Barrett era pink words of wisdom there. Yeah, your butt. How did you do that? Like, how did you do that? You can get the angle of the butt just right to hit the right button. I mean, I can't hit the fucking phone right with my finger. I'm typing out shit to people in text, and it doesn't make any fucking sense. This man's typing shit out with his butt like it's he's like a world record text kid that does the fast texting. My butt, unicorn, horses and donkeys. Oh, there you go, Raptors freaks. I don't understand how he does that. That's talent, man. That's talent. Kessler is saying, good news. There's still games to play for all the other teams. Anything can happen to them or us. They just have to keep playing as good as possible. Exactly. We go to every single game is a new opportunity to win. And other teams like Philadelphia and Miami and Orlando and Atlanta and Charlotte, they all have to play games too and win and lose like that. But the problem is some of them are winning a lot, like Atlanta and Miami. In Orlando, they are winning a lot right now, and we're losing a lot right now. And it's the wrong elevator and the wrong going in the direction. And their elevator is going up right now, and ours is going down, and that is not good. That's why we got to stop the elevator, hit the emergency stop, and do some Aerosmith, loving an elevator, and get right back up and start rising that elevator going up to the penthouse instead of going down the basement, the boiler room. Because we don't want that. We don't want to go down and see Mankind in a boiler room matchup. No way we going down there to fight Kane next to that furnace. Come on now. We don't want to be down there. We want to be up in the penthouse with Ric Flair. Woo! That's right. That's what we want right there. That's right. Let's see. Only full-ass butt dials in this chat. That's right. Kaloy's saying this. That makes sense. That's why we got BI to handle the scoring load. Anyways, the Raptors just need to sharpen up. We saw in those wins, we have Darko needs to conjure that it is as simple as that. Yeah, we'll just have to see the approach. I think that you guys are right with saying there's accountability to go around. I can use Brandon as a lightning rod for the failure of New Orleans, sure. But there is accountability to go around, and there's always some things that the coaching staff and Bobby Webster and the other teammates can do to contribute to getting us out of the mud. So, Scotty, get us out of the mud, just like you did as a kid in West Palm Beach, growing up with the stamps, the food stamps and your mother and everything you did to get to where you are at this point. Why the fuck would you not try and get out of the mud now when you can do it easier than you did it when you were a kid? All the hard work and all the things you did growing up to become the basketball phenom, Scotty basketball, All-American, all the things that you've done. Like, why would you do this at this point after such a successful season you've been leading this team on? Why do you want to lead them down the elevator to the boiler room with Mick Foley? That's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying. You take control of your lives. You get it out of the mud, Scott. That's you, bro. You can do this. I believe in you, man. That's right. Fiercely saying, W stream, W fam. Salute to Justin Bieber. You want me to see what he's doing? Justin, I could have used you this week. There was a river in the yard. Were you out there making a dam? Could you have helped me? Come on, wake up. Wake up. They asked for you. All right. All right. All right. Here you go. Here he comes. Here he comes. Justin, man, I know you're sleeping. I know, but you should be waking up soon. Spring is coming quick. You can hibernate for winter, but when it gets to this point, you should be starting to wake up and start getting out there. Honestly, I'm disappointed in you, son. Why didn't you build a dam in the damn yard? Because the house was flooded. Not inside, but around the house. There was like water on all four sides of the house. You could have directed the water from me out there. It's just your natural job, right? You're a beaver. So in some ways, let's wake up. The weather is getting warmer. It is snowing out there. I know. And I know that makes you want to go right back to sleep right now. I get it. But I'm going to need you to do some damn work around the house. Okay. And I mean that not in a profanity way. All right. So if you could do that for me, I love you, son. All right. All right. All right. This is my boy. This is my Beaver boy, Justin Beaver. He's my son. You're my son, Justin Beaver. That's right. That's right. I love you, Justin. All right. Now you go back to sleep. And I'm sorry I woke you up. Fiercey wanted to see you. Yeah, he's still here. He's alive. He's alive. He's still here. I don't keep him in a crate like a dog. He kind of just curls up over there. And every once in a while he wakes up and he like eats some. He like takes a bite out of like a wood furniture here or something like that. All of a sudden, I'm like, man, don't eat the furniture. I'll bring you logs from outside. Okay, stop eating the furniture. All right. All right. I love you, man. Here's another hug. Okay. All right. All right. I got to let him go back to sleep. All right, Justin, go back to sleep. All right, all right. He waved to you guys. Wow, that's pretty cool. He waved to you guys. He likes you guys, I guess, because he waved to you guys. That's right. That's right. Fiercey saying, imagine a new sub to the channel watching Lex talking with the squirrels and Justin Bieber. Listen, man, I'm a man of nature. I'm a nature boy. Woo! Because in some ways, I want to have more of a stronger affinity and connection with nature. I feel like it's just a more pure connection than anything. Some people are connected to this. I'll be connected to nature because I feel like that's more in the way that God wanted us, right? That's the way God wanted us to be more connected with nature. And my fake puppet ass son, Justin Bieber. That's right. That's right. Fiercey loves it. That's worth it. All right, y'all. Straight goods on Canadian goods, y'all. I love this almond milk. This is chocolate almond milk by Earth's Own. And Earth's Own is a great Canadian company. It says right there, made in Canada from imported and domestic ingredients. So mostly domestic, hopefully. But yeah, this is good stuff, man. Like I'll get some Canadian cereal and I'll get this Canadian almond milk. And man, it's just a joy. It's just a joy. I'm telling you right now. So let me just read something real quick. Earth's Own is proudly a Canadian brand based in Burnaby, British Columbia. We produce all our milks and creamers in 3 cities across the country. Our Western Canadian facility is located in Delta, BC. And our Eastern Canadian facilities are in Mississauga and Quebec City. We're proudly Canadian and will continue to support our amazing country the best we possibly can. So if you're going to the dairy aisle and you want to pick for our country, Earth's Own, this is a good brand for you right here. And they don't just have almond, they have regular milk too. I mean, chocolate milk. They have, all that stuff. So anyway, there's your straight goods on Canadian goods for today. All right, let me just check on my tabs real quick and we'll do a wrap up in a very near future. I did the 905 game already. Let's see. In the Instagram stories, my Instagram story of the day comes to us from Jonathan Mobo. And Jonathan Mobo has posted a clip that came out from the Raptors of Jacoby Walter and Garrett Temple talking about how their dance evolved, their little step dance they do. Their step dance. You guys have seen them doing that, that stuff. They're doing this like, switch it, and they're like lockstep. And well, Jonathan tries to do it, but he's horrible. And Garrett straight up calls him out for it. He says, but Jonathan Mobo, he is just, there's no helping him. There's no helping him. And Jacoby made it known that the person that's closest, because everybody watches them in awe, apparently. Like AJ Lawson watched them. He's like, I don't even know how you guys do that. And, Garrett was doing it one day and Jacoby was mimicking him. And that's how it happened. And Garrett said that Jacoby Walter has an old soul and that he gets it. I get this, man. I can see it in Walter because I see it in his basketball play, let alone his fancy footwork with you and your little dance. But yeah, they said that Jonathan's the worst. And the guy who's the closest to being on par with Garrett Temple and Jacoby Walter on their step dance is Grady Dick. So apparently Grady Dick has the next best rhythm to join them as the third dancer. So yeah, there's your Raptors Instagram story of the day. I'm only going to do one a day, and I'm going to do the one that is interesting to me. And Mobo's on here saying, hey, I got my little twist to it. Don't make fun of me. It's just my dance isn't on the same beat. I have a different drummer. He has a different drummer. Let's see if there's any breaking news in Raptors world real quick from Blake Murphy or anybody before I sign out. It's always good to check in and just in case somebody got signed or something like that, or something happened. There's nothing there right now. Let's see. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to Raptor freak Shane Waters. Shane Waters is a BC Raptor freak out west in the West Coast in British Columbia. And I don't know if Shane's still watching me. He's not actively in the chat all the time, but we know it's his birthday today. And we're going to say a happy birthday to Raptor freak Shane Waters. So, yeah, it's Shane's birthday today, guys. That's the birthday for today. All right, check on your fantasy teams. It's time to do the classic card. Let's get that card ready. Justin, you all right? I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to do that. You okay? Yeah, all right. All right, you cool. All right, you cool. All right. I'm glad Justin got to appear on the show today. He is a really like a once in a lifetime, a once in a while kind of character on the show. He can't be on the show every day. That would make this Sesame Street. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. In some ways, we have to have some credibility. The puppet can only be used as a gag every once in a while. It cannot be overplayed. There's one thing I've learned about the years of Justin Bieber being on my show is he cannot be overplayed. All right, here we go. Here we go. Somebody guessed this guy the other day, and it wasn't him, but it's him this time. So if you want to get him now, this is the one. This is a Dallas Maverick, obviously. This is a guy who's still involved with the Mavericks to an extent. That's right. Nameless is here. What's up, guys? It's about to snow 4 inches, 4 to 5, 6 inches. What? Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. That's bad news, man. I don't want to shoot the messenger. Come on now. Isaac's got RJ Barrett on blast. And Kenny's saying, have a great weekend. Good morning, original Raptor Freak Kenny. Good to see you, my guy. All right, who is it, guys? Full name answer. Where's my guy, the king of classic card, Slug Deezy? He's going to probably get this one right away. Come on, y'all know who that is. Who's the referee in the back? That's an old ref. I don't know that ref. Anthony Davis. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, Rolando Blackman, of course. Slug Deezy's going to get this. This is Rolando Blackman. He's one of the most important Dallas Mavericks ever. He's still involved in their franchise. In fact, I think he's an announcer. He's in the broadcast. He's kind of like Sam Mitchell for them, I think, is what his role is in their franchise at this point. They did the retirement ceremony for Mark Aguirre in Dallas recently, and Rolando Blackman was at that. And it was interesting because Rolando was standing up there with Mark Aguirre and Isaiah Thomas, who was there as a friend, a childhood friend of Mark. But, I don't think Rolando Blackman and Mark Aguirre liked playing with each other. They didn't totally get along because they stepped on each other's toes at their position and their scoring. And that Isaiah demanding the Pistons trade to get Mark Aguirre for Adrian Dantley was actually a blessing in disguise for Rolando, because in some ways when Rolando got up there and stood with Mark Aguirre when he was getting retired, he was like not feeling the vibes totally. Like the connection wasn't as strong as the connection between Isaiah Thomas and Mark Aguirre. So I think in some ways Rolando Blackman and Mark Aguirre aren't totally like that. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. Yeah, Slug Deezy's got it. That's right. Rolando Blackman is the card. And I'm going to go ahead and give him 100 points because this was an all-star, and this was a pretty prominent player that if you were watching the NBA, you would know who he was. It's not like he was a nobody. So, Slug, you're getting 100 points for the classic card today. That's right. I appreciate you playing. I appreciate you guys hanging around and wanting to see the classic card too. I know that sometimes I go on and on. You thought that was Sam Mitchell? I said that he's the Sam Mitchell of their broadcast. Like, Sam Mitchell's role on our broadcast. Rolando Blackman's like that on their broadcast for Dallas. That's right. Neil's saying, I shot the messenger, but I couldn't shoot the architect. That's a weird one right there. Cloy's saying, thanks, Lex, for your streams. Without you, I would have had the nephew energy because of these losses. Well, see, that's why I'm making a difference. Bobby, listen to what he just said. Bobby Webster. I'm helping Raptors Nation deal with the problems that we're having right now in a better way, in a more intelligent way, in a way that's more mature, and in a way that has the whole big perspective in mind in some ways. Sure, we can raise the alarm and we can get crazy because of the things that are going on right now, and we are worried about this. But we also understand that every game of the 82 is another fresh piece of paper to write the story new every night. And tonight it's the Suns, Raptors. So in some ways, if y'all had not looked in the mirror at yourselves since New Orleans, do it today before the game and ask yourself who the fuck you are. Because you got to decide who you are tonight in some ways to show the Raptors fans and Raptors Nation, the NBA, and your own teammates and your own organization who the fuck you are. Because there's some doubt and there's some questions about who you are right now. And in some ways, you can answer questions real easy on a basketball court. So I want to see what that happens tonight. That's right. That's right. Yeah, you got the card, not him. You got the card, not him. What? I don't understand. Fiercely saying, ooh, this is odd. I don't even see Slug or Smooth's answers. No, they're there. They're there on my screen. I don't know. You guys blocking each other? Slug Deezy is right there. I see him. I see him. He's good. All right, let me do the rundown real quick. First of all, to win this game, figure out mismatches. The NBA is a league of mismatches, even if people forgot that for a couple years. It's coming back in vogue to take advantage of mismatches. There's going to be mismatches tonight because their lineup is not as talented as our lineup. And Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes are better than anybody else on their other team. I include Devin Booker. And they can use their powers to beat them if they do it, adjust it, and they read the mismatches and they do this right. Other thing is, you guys have to show the effort. You got to show that you care. Everybody's questioning whether you even give a shit right now. So make this very clear tonight because it'll save y'all a lot of grief. Seriously. It'll save y'all a lot of grief. If y'all shit the bed and lose this game tonight because you are failing in the fourth quarter, it's going to hurt, and you're going to build more of that narrative to be true. I don't want to build that narrative. I want to see you guys have a great second half and complete this game with a W by the end of it. That's in your hands. It's your life. You choose it. I'm just a fan. I watch y'all, and I react to you every morning at 9:30 on this channel. It's up to you guys. You want to do it? You go out there and do it. Coach will try and help you, and your teammates will help you too. You just got to do it together and get organized and figure out who you guys are going to be. Because in some ways, the NBA wants you to be losers. They want to paint you as losers in the articles and in the standings in different places. You don't have to take that destiny. You can make your own destiny and defy it. Just ask the 2019 Toronto Raptors champions. Just ask a lot of Raptors teams over the years, led by Kyle and DeMar and Scotty Barnes and other people at other times. Scotty, you have been on teams that have defied the NBA and done above and beyond. In fact, this year has kind of been that. But are we going to go into the fourth quarter of the whole season and y'all are going to fumble this season like you would fumble a game in the fourth quarter? That's what I'm asking you right now. You have power, so take advantage of it, is what I'm saying right there. Yeah. You thought that was an old Wolves jersey? No, that's a very green Dallas jersey. And they've been wearing these this year in some ways. Quasimodo's saying no one's shooting no one except the shooters. Stay in your lane, chats. That's right. That's right. No one's shooting no one except the shooters. Stay in your lane. I just want the guys that have the hot hand to get the ball and not force feed guys just because of the priority list or the minutes. That's what I'm saying. Where in the blue hell is this snow coming from? The sky. That's where it's coming from. Oh, I know. I'm being so witty and annoying. So witty and annoying. All right, let's get back and the rundown real quick, and I'll get out of here at 3 hours. You got a Lexathon after all. All right, the injuries for the Raptors today. Scotty is questionable due to sickness. Colin Murray-Boyles is upgraded from out to questionable due to his thumb. We may see the return of the young rookie. Chucky Hepburn is still out due to recovery from his knee surgery. So I'm guessing if it is Scotty out, we'll have Emmanuel, Brandon, RJ, Jacoby, and Jakob as our starters. The other side, they've won 6 out of 7. They're very dangerous. The Suns are showing this at this point, that Grayson Allen is day-to-day. He could play tonight. He sat out last night. Dylan Brooks is out due to recovery from his hand surgery. And Mark Williams, the center, is out. The Phoenix Suns are starting these guys right now. Colin Gillespie, Devin Booker, Jalen Green, Royce O'Neal, and Osho Ighodaro. Now, Scott, you're going to play Jalen Green tonight. That's a buddy of yours. Outplay him. Take him as the litmus test to compete against versus. It should be Devin Booker, but maybe Ingram should line up and say, I got to outscore and outplay Devin Booker. And maybe you should say, I'm going to outscore and outplay Jalen Green, your friend. The Raptors are favored to win this game by the ESPN matchup predictor. Thank God. They didn't have us favored to win against the Suns. I mean, the Pelicans, which is weird. 54% is what they think our chance to beat them is. The referees for tonight, the very great Tyler Ford is the crew chief tonight. He favors the Raptors, and he's fantastic. The second ref is Ray Acosta. He's a jerk, but he's even. It's no really any favor for either team. It's very even. And then the third ref is Fantasy Ransom, and he favors the Suns. So, yeah, that's your crew. It's not a bad crew. Honestly, I trust Tyler Ford. If there's any manipulation, it's going to come from Acosta and slightly from Ransom as far as my ref assessing right there. Yeah. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching the Raptor Freak stream. Thank you, Justin, for showing up on the show. Thank you guys for listening to me and finding value in my insight and breaking down the Raptors world. I think that hopefully this stream was helpful to the fans like Kaloy. Hopefully this stream was helpful to Scotty and some of the players and understanding this is what's going on here and what y'all need to do to prove something in good faith to Raptors Nation. That's all I'll say. It's like y'all need to prove something tonight. Y'all are on notice, seriously. And if you don't prove something tonight and this continues to go in this direction, it's just going to get worse and worse. So take control of this destiny and do what's right. That's right. Isaac Campbell's got the beaver on blast now. That didn't sound right there. Phrasing, Lex. Let's go Raptors. And congratulations, 905, for beating the Westchester Knicks yesterday. My stars of the game were A.J. Lawson, Jarkel Joyner, Quincy Guerrier, Tyreek Key, and A.J. Hogarth. The Raptors ain't going to stand on business for Shed. At least the Raptors 905 are standing on business for A.J. Hogarth. And I appreciate that for that. Kaz, you're crazy, man. You're just going to say hi. All right, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's go Raptors and beat the